really be crushed by this psychological pressure of guilt. Of course it's right, if you can't even save your own partner, then it's waste, and you don't even have the qualifications to become a ninja. N.A.N nodded and said, his eyes were very firm. I didn't expect that at such a time, it would actually be you who enlightened me. N.A.N sighed and said, his expression changed a little. With his current state, it is not an easy thing to come out of the shadows, perhaps more people need to enlighten him, and the villagers need to forgive him. Father, I think what N.A.N said makes sense. Of course, the task is important, but we should pay more attention to the life and death of our companions. We can't see death without saving it, otherwise, what is the use of us inheriting the will of fire? Kakashi came to Kikishuumao and said seriously, with the two of you supporting me, make me feel better, rest assured, I will be fine. Kimushuumao said, although he didn't smile, his state was much more stable. Seeing that Kimushuumao could do this, N.A.N was also slightly relieved, feeling that Kimushuumao would not do something unthinkable. The matter about Kimushuumao is still fermenting in the village, and all kinds of invective and condemnation are still flying and have not subsided. Even the partners who were rescued by Kimushuumao are also involved in this behavior. Seeing that these ignorant villagers were like this, and no one stood up to speak for Kimushuumao, N.A.'s heart was full of anger, and he became even more angry with the villagers in the village, and the hatred in his heart began to spread. In the storm of invective and condemnation, Kimushuumao finally could not carry it, was crushed by the huge psychological pressure, and on a stormy night, he chose to cut himself and fell in the room. Kimushuumao was originally in the prime of life and made great contributions to the village, but in the end he was forced to die tragically by the villagers, which was really a bleak ending. When the news of Kimushuumao's suicide came out, the villagers in the entire village were shocked again, and they seemed surprised and couldn't believe it. They didn't expect that Kimushuumao would actually think so much that he chose to commit suicide to end his life, unwilling to bear that kind of pressure again. With Kimushuumao's suicide, the villagers' opinion of him changed a lot at once, and no one condemned him anymore, but became regretful. Kimushuumao has reached the strength of the shadow level, and even has the opportunity to be elected as a Hokage in the future, and now he committed suicide like this, which is a huge loss for the village. N.A.N was also surprised in his heart. He didn't expect that Kimushuumao would not be able to come out of the shadows in the end, and chose such a way to get rid of it. It was also the matter of Kikishuo Shigeru that made Chiba and Kakashi's psychology change a lot, and Chiba's change was even stronger, making him have more hatred for the village and the villagers, but he didn't show it, but hid it in his heart. Although N.A.N knew that this was what had to happen in the original book, he still couldn't accept it when he really faced it. Moreover, Kimushuumao is still his father, which makes him even more unacceptable, and he is extremely angry about it. Villagers of Konoha, you let Kikishuumao commit suicide, I will not make you feel better, one day, I will make you pay a terrible price. A seed of hatred gradually sprouted in N.A.'s heart, activating an Asura killing god. After Kikishuumao committed suicide, Kakashi suddenly changed dramatically, and usually, he would talk to others with a big smile on his face, but now, this phenomenon has completely ceased to appear. Kakashi seemed to have fallen into darkness, unable to come out of the shadows, and became taciturn. This rain is still falling, as if the heavens are weeping, and the pouring rain has not stopped. In the cemetery of Konoha village, dead ninjas will be buried here and let their souls rest in peace. Although Kimushuumao could not be recognized by the villagers in this matter, his contribution to the village was obvious to all. Therefore, it is a matter of course that Kikishuo Shigeru is buried in the ninja cemetery. Kikishuo's funeral took place in the rain, and many ninjas from the village came to pay their last condolences. Some villagers still feel guilty about Kimushuumao's suicide, and now they feel that they should not condemn Kimushuumao like that, but now it's too late. Kakashi and Chiba braved the rain to stand in front of Kikishuo's grave, their expressions calm, not crying like ordinary children, and there was no sadness or joy on their faces. When it's time to be sad, they are already sad, and now, there is no need to be sad. The third generation of Hokage led the ninja of the village to bid farewell to Kikishuo Shigeru, and his mood was also a little sad and sad. The loss of such a strong person in the village is a very huge loss for the village, which makes people feel regretted. Many ninjas stood in front of Kikishuumao's grave, without speaking, silent. In this case, they may not be qualified to say anything at all. You guys I don't need you to come here to pretend. N.A.N turned around and looked at these ninjas who came, roaring angrily, and his eyes became very terrifying. He really couldn't tolerate it. These ninjas forced Kikishuumao to death, and now they still came to mourn with fake kindness, and showed a sad look that he couldn't accept. If it weren't for the condemnation of these ninjas, Kikishuumao would not have been able to withstand the pressure and committed suicide for this. Seeing Chiba's reaction, these ninjas were able to understand and didn't say much. Of course, they also have some guilt in their hearts, so they don't go head-to-head with Chiba. Because of Kikishuo's affairs, Kakashi and Chiba were greatly affected, causing them to change a lot, making them gradually fade out of the dark part and no longer participate in the dark part of the mission. In simple terms, they have withdrawn from the dark part. Perhaps in the case of Kikishuo, many ninjas felt guilty about it, so although Kakashi and Chiba withdrew from the Dark Division, they did not condemn it. If they condemn these two underage children again, it is estimated that Kakashi and Chiba will hate the village for this, and it is not impossible to betray the village in the end. Kinyi did not stay in a low state all the time, and soon recovered and continued his daily cultivation, and his attitude towards the villagers was also very general, not so bad. However, Kakashi has changed a lot, becoming taciturn, rarely speaking on weekdays, and there is a gap between him and Chiba, and he doesn't communicate much. Chiba persuaded Kakashi several times to help the latter come out of the shadows, but Kakashi couldn't listen and couldn't easily get out of that shadow. 2 months after Kikishuo Shigeru's death, Chiba took the crowd exam and graduated with the first place, officially becoming a true ninja. At this time, Chiba was already 6 years old, 2 months before Kakashi graduated from junior high school shinobi, so he became the first ninja to become a middle ninja. Since the incident of Kimashuomao, Chiba has not had much sense of belonging to Konoha, and even hates the villagers, wanting revenge in his heart. Although Kinyi wants to do a lot of things, he must first have strong strength before he can do what he wants to do, and he doesn't need to be afraid of too much, and he doesn't have to be afraid of all kinds of strong people. After becoming a Zongnin, Chiba does not want to stay in the village, but wants to leave the village and go to the outside world to perform various tasks, whether it is to improve his strength, or to complete tasks and earn more money. Chiba came to Hokage's office alone and stood in front of Sarutobi Hinata. Kinyi, you came to me, is there something wrong? The third generation of Hokage, who was sitting behind the desk, put down the documents in his hand, looked up at Chiba, and spoke. Seeing this little guy who was only 6 years old but was already able to stand alone, Ape Riko still sighed a little in his heart, with a hint of apology. Naruto-sama, I want to take the task. Kinyi did not mince words, and directly stated the purpose. You're only 6 years old and are you going on a mission alone? Ape Ri asked, a little relieved. Although I am only 6 years old, I am already a middle ninja, my strength is still very good, there will be no problem in completing the task alone, you can rest assured. Kinyi spoke, not thinking of himself as a child. You don't want to stay in the village, just became a Zongnin, you can't wait to take the task. Ape Ri looked at Kinyi and said, with a sigh. Ape Flying Sun is a Hokage, and he has rich experience, has experienced countless things, can see through the essence of many things, and can guess Chiba's thoughts to a certain extent. Hearing Ape Riko say this, Kinyi fell silent and did not quibble, he really did not want to stay in the village. It's good to go out and relax. In the matter of Kimashuomao, I hope you can look away a little, don't hate the villagers too much, Ape Flying Sun said with a sigh. He can only persuade Chiba to come here. What does Chiba plan to do in the future, and what his attitude towards the villagers is, that depends on his own decision. Of course, Sarutobi hopes that Chiba will remain loyal to the village and not become a rebel, otherwise, it will be the loss of the village. It can be seen that Chiba's talent is very amazing and promising. If he grows up and becomes the mainstay of the village, there is no problem at all, and even in the future, he can become a Hokage, inherit the will of fire, and protect Konoha. For Chiba, Ape Flying Sun Chopper has high hopes. Naruto-sama, please rest assured, I know who I am and will not do anything unfavorable to the village, nor will I have any opinions about the villagers. Although Kinyi has a lot of psychological changes in his heart, has many thoughts, and hates the villagers, he can't tell his true thoughts, otherwise, he will only have no benefit to himself. I do have a sea-level mission here, which should suit you. Ape Flying Sun changed the topic and talked about the task. What is the mission? Kinyi asked. For him, as long as he can leave the village to carry out the mission, it will not be too demanding. After he leaves the village, he can become a bounty hunter and accept other tasks to complete together. Anyway, his purpose is to become stronger and make money by the way. A timber merchant is going to leave the village tomorrow and return to the Land of Waves, you will escort him back, Ape Flying Sun said. From Konoha village to the Land of Waves, there are many places, but there may be mountain thieves, which can be said to be not peaceful. If you want to complete this task, you need a ninja who is not weak. Since Ape Flying Sun Chopper gave this task to Kinyi, he trusted his strength. Good, I will complete this task smoothly and will not disappoint you, Kinyi said and took the task. The meeting point is at the entrance of the village, the departure time is tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock, then I will let the timber merchant go and meet you, Ape Flying Sun said. Chiba answered, did not linger in the Hokage's office, and turned to leave. After Chiba left the Hokage office, Chiba went to the weapons store to buy some of the weapons and equipment he needed. The next morning, near 9 o'clock, Chiba arrived at the entrance of the village, and the timber merchant arrived just in time. The timber merchant Damon was not tall, less than 1.7 meters, appeared very fat, had a fat body, a red face, and carried a box. You're the ninja who escorted me back to the Land of Waves? Damon the timber merchant saw that he was only 6 years old and not tall, like a small fart child's Kinyi, he immediately exclaimed, unable to believe it. He felt that letting this little fart escort back to China was simply unreliable, maybe he would give his life on the road and become very uncalm. That's right, the ninja who escorted you back to the land of waves this time is me. Kinyi nodded and said, looking very calm. Konoha village won't be a joke, it's child's play to let a little fart escort me back to China. Damon scolded angrily. Don't worry about this, although I am not old, I am already a middle ninja, which can ensure your safety and will not let you be harmed. Kinyi spoke, looking very confident. Hearing Chiba say that he was a Naka shinobi, Damon obviously didn't believe it. It's impossible to become a Zongnin at your age, don't joke with me, it's a matter of life, can we stop playing? Damon spoke, looking impatient. I'm not kidding you, I'm originally a Zongnin, haven't you heard about Kima Kinyi's deeds in the village? Kinyi snorted softly, revealing a very leisurely look. You are that demon genius Kimu Shuumao? Damon exclaimed, his eyes looking straight at Kinyi, looking up and down, obviously a little unbelievable. After coming to Konoha village, Damon naturally heard a lot of things, including the deeds of Kima Chiba, which he remembered in his heart. Naturally it's me, otherwise who else could there be? The corners of Kinyi's mouth turned up slightly, revealing a smug look. I really didn't expect it, you are that genius Kinyi, I really have no eyes, I can actually see the Buddha figure. Damon's attitude immediately changed, and he did not dare to underestimate Chiba anymore, but praised. Damon learned that with Kinyi's strength, there is absolutely no problem in fighting against 3 middle ninja, and even can have the upper hand, which is not weaker than special upper ninja. There is a middle ninja of Chiba's level, escorting Daimon back to the country of waves, but it is more reliable and safer than other middle ninja. Now I'll escort you back to the land of waves, you have no opinion. Kinyi snorted lightly and said proudly. No opinion, no opinion. Damon waved his hand again and again, revealing an embarrassed smile. If I hadn't wanted to leave the village now, I wouldn't have taken your task. Kinyi said casually, not being polite to Damon at all. Hearing Kinyi say this, Damon didn't know what to say, so he could only laugh ruefully and not get angry. Chiba did not delay time, and after joining Damon, he did not stay, left the village, and set out for the land of waves. Chiba and Damon are not fast in their journey, so it will take a lot of time to get to the land of waves. Of course, the main thing is that Damon is not a ninja, and the speed of rushing is very slow, otherwise if Chiba rushes at full speed, I believe that he can arrive in the shortest time. In the past 2 days, Kinyi and Damon did not encounter anything, the road was safe, there was no accident, which made Kinyi feel bored, and there was no one to fight. This road is really calm, even a mountain thief can't see it, and said that this road is very safe. Kinyi held the back of his head with both hands, holding a small grass in his mouth, and said boredly, it seems that you want someone to come and find trouble. Damon opened his mouth and said, although Chiba is very young, he can't see through it at all. That's natural, otherwise it's too boring along the way, and I'm going to be moldy. Kinyi said seriously. For this little guy who wants to fight, Damon really has no way, choosing to ignore it as if he can't hear. However, Kinyi is also a crow's mouth, and as soon as he finished saying this, a group of bandits popped out from the bushes in front, and there were 13 in number. After these bandits appeared, they blocked the way, with an arrogant look on their faces, showing a cold smile, and wielding a bright sword. We haven't opened for a few days, and today we finally met 2 guys who can start, and we definitely can't let them go. A mountain thief spoke, revealing a playful expression. In their opinion, Kinyi and Damon are fish meat on the chopping board, they can slaughter it casually, and they can't escape at all, so they are not nervous and walk over slowly. Seeing these bandits appear, Damon, who had no ability, still instinctively nervous, became a little scared, and took 2 steps back, not daring to move forward. The thief you want has appeared, you have to deal with them, otherwise we will be here. Damon spoke, and could only hope for Chiba. At the beginning of the new January, various lists have been refreshed, and the most important list for me at the moment is the collection list. I want to sprint to the collector's list in the new month and strive to make this book even better. If you haven't collected yet, please click on the collection to help me hit the collection list. For you, collecting is just a small thing, but for me, it is a very important thing. It's about future recommendations, so it's troublesome. Don't worry, it's just some rookies, there is no pressure to deal with them, it can be regarded as an appetizer for me to move my muscles. Kinyi waved his hand and spoke, without the slightest pressure. He walked forward and stopped in front of Damon, looking at these mountain thieves who appeared, revealing a playful expression. The 13 mountain thieves who surrounded him, seeing that Kinyi was so arrogant and still a fart child, suddenly felt unhappy in their hearts, and wanted to torture him fiercely, and then send him on the road. You little brat, dare to talk to us like this, you are impatient. After it falls into our hands, we definitely want you to look good and let you know what life is better than death. Don't talk so much nonsense with them, take them down with your hands, lest someone else come and spoil our actions. Several mountain thieves spoke, constantly approaching Kinyi's side, waving the weapons in their hands, revealing a cold expression, and seemed to have eaten Kinyi and Damon. You rookies, talking to you is a pure waste of my time. Kinyi shook his head and spoke. Little ghost, don't be proud, it will soon make you laugh. The mountain thief stood up coldly, increased his speed, and rushed towards N.A.N, launching an attack. In the next instant, N.A.N had already moved, his body disappeared from the place, but there were 8 shurikens that attacked from his original position and attacked the mountain thief who rushed over. Poof, 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 the shuriken shot over, instantly came to the eyes of the thieves, and then pierced their bodies, so that they had no time to dodge. When these mountain thieves saw the shuriken attack, their eyes immediately widened, revealing a look of panic, and they wanted to dodge, but it was too late. They were attacked by the shuriken, and they lost their lives in an instant. When he sent out his shuriken attack, N.A.N had already locked the key part and dealt 1 hit damage to the thief. 8 shurikens attacked the past, that is, 8 lives, and after the screams were issued, blood flew out, blooming blood flowers, and 8 mountain thieves were killed, fell to the ground, unable to struggle. After the 8 bandits were killed, N.A.N's body appeared, and he had come to the remaining thieves, holding 2 kunao in both hands, and instantly pierced the throats of the 2 bandits beside him, ending their lives. Almost in the blink of an eye, 10 mountain thieves were killed by N.A.N, and 3 people were stunned in place, and they had not yet reacted to what had happened. However, they instinctively panicked, their bodies couldn't help trembling, and they wanted to retreat backwards, away from N.A.N, the killing god. It's just that they are now even stiff and sluggish, and they want to run for their lives, which is impossible. Now that you want to run for your life, do you think you still have a chance? N.A.N said coldly, like the whisper of death, dominating the life and death of these mountain thieves. Before the words fell, he had already rushed over, approaching the last 3 mountain thieves again. His hands were painless, blood flew out, and screams echoed in the air. The last 3 bandits fell to the ground, allowing blood to flow from their throats, staining their clothes and staining the ground. Originally, the momentum was very arrogant, and he felt that he could eat Chiba and Damon's 13 thieves, but in just 10 seconds, they were all solved, and no one was spared. With a strong person of N.A.'s level, dealing with this capable thief is simply overkill, and it can only be regarded as stretching his muscles, not even fighting. N.A.N, who was standing a few meters away, saw the 13 mountain thieves who originally rushed over to attack, but in a few blinks of an eye, they were all wiped out by N.A.N, and he couldn't help but be shocked. His eyes widened, and he couldn't believe it. He knew N.A.'s deeds and knew that this little guy's strength was very good, but he didn't expect to be so strong. The siege of 13 mountain thieves, but 2 or 3 breaths, was all solved by him, and he did not use ninjutsu, purely relying on physical skills and gorgeous combat skills. For N.A.N, N.A.N is simply a monster, like coming out of the purgatory of killing Lu, covered in blood and fire, and absolutely cannot be regarded as a child. Let's keep going. N.A.N turned around, regained his calm expression, and said to N.A.N, "This place is full of dead people, and he doesn't want to rest here," looking at the appetite. N.A.N came back to his senses, did not hesitate, answered, and continued to hurry with Chiba, becoming more and more respectful to the latter, and no longer treating him as a child. The host has accumulated 30 kills, and 30,000 points will be awarded to the Navy 6-style Arashi. The voice of the One Piece system sounded. Hearing such news, N.A.'s mood was slightly excited, revealing a bright smile. Gaining a new ability, and it is also a means of attack, is a good thing for Chiba, which can improve his combat effectiveness. Moreover, Arashi can play a great role in attacking, and in some cases, it can basically be used as a sword, and its lethality is amazing. After obtaining 30,000 points, plus the 2,000 points obtained before, Chiba now has 32,000 points. In the next 2 days, Chiba and N.A.N encountered 2 groups of robbers and rogues who blocked the road, and felt that they were small in number and easy to bully, so they started to rob them. When they started, they knew in their hearts that they were terrified, and it was too late to regret, and they didn't even have a chance to escape. N.A.N used these robbers and rogues to practice, and the messenger controlled Arashi and exerted greater power. The mission to escort N.A.N back to the Land of Waves took Chiba a total of 7 days, although it took a lot of time, but the harvest was good, allowing him to gain a lot of points and get a new skill. Escorting N.A.N back to his city, Chiba received a reward of 30,000 gold coins from N.A.N, and then separated from N.A.N and began his journey and began a new cultivation. Chiba left Konoha village and wanted to walk around, understand the world more deeply, and improve his strength. After completing this escort mission, Chiba was not in a hurry to return to Konoha, or did not want to return to Konoha, and wanted to experience outside. Because he has the plugin of the One Piece system, the fastest way to improve his strength is to complete various main quests and side quests, get points, and various skills. If you want to complete these tasks, perhaps killing Lu and killing enemies is the fastest shortcut and the most effective way to improve your strength. If he returns to Konoha, Chiba can't kill Lu at all, he can't get points and rewards, and the matter of improving his strength will be limited. Today's N.A.N is to pick out the bathtub and enter the river and sea of swimming fish, do not need to be restrained, can act freely, do not have to be afraid too much, it is really high in the sky and the birds fly, and the sea is wide by the fish jumping. The country of waves is only a very small country, there are basically no ninjas in the country, and Chiba wants to find a mercenary house here and accept various tasks, which is impossible, and can only go to other places. In the Hokage world, the places where mercenaries appear are often the border areas of major countries, where mercenaries will appear frequently. If Chiba wants to kill people unscrupulously and get more points, then going to the border between major countries is the best way. Chiba goes to the border of the Land of Fire, and on the border you go specifically to the rogues and bandits who invade the Land of Fire. 3 days later, Chiba arrived at the border between the Land of Fire and the Land of Grass. The Land of Grass is an important belligerent area in the Third Shinobi World War, but it is not yet there. Because the country of Grass borders the country of Fire, the country of Earth, and the country of Wind, the diplomacy of the country of Grass is very good at maneuvering between major powers. At the same time, because of its geographical location, the position of Kusanagi country is unstable, small-scale wars often occur, and the domestic cleanup is very corrupt, which is simply a mess. Recently, the border between the Land of Grass and the Land of Fire has been very unstable, and there are often some mobs and small-scale battles. 3 days later, Chiba came to the border between the Land of Fire and the Land of Grass, and walked casually towards a tavern that was simply decorated and looked a little old. This tavern is not just a tavern, but also a place where mercenaries flow and receive tasks, so business is very good every day, mostly mercenary flow. Kinyi's height is only 1 meter and 3 meters tall, and his face is still very immature, although he is angular and handsome, but he is extremely unsafe to appear alone in a place like the border. Some mercenaries who planned to enter the tavern saw Kinyi walking into the tavern alone, and they couldn't help but be curious and interested. Hey, this little devil doesn't know where this place is, and he actually dares to walk around. Maybe he's a mercenary, or a bounty hunter. Just him? Isn't it funny that even the hare does not grow chi, and the bounty hunter? These mercenaries are all walking around the border, living a life of licking blood at the knife's edge, with a relatively short temper, without any cover, and saying whatever comes to mind, and they will not be afraid at all. Kinyi walked to the door of the tavern, heard others talking about him, did not care at all, shrugged his shoulders, did not bother to pay attention, and continued to walk into the tavern. Seeing Chiba like this, those mercenaries felt a little interesting, and felt that as long as Chiba walked into the tavern, something would definitely happen later. You know, the life of mercenaries in taverns is always devoid of fun, and killing and bullying are their few pleasures. Those mercenaries who licked blood on the knife's edge, when they saw such a little fart enter the tavern and mingle with them, they would definitely make provocative remarks, and even give Chiba some lessons. If Kinyi doesn't have enough strength, wait to be humiliated. Kinyi walked into the tavern, and immediately a choking smell of alcohol came to his face, making him a little uncomfortable and frowning slightly. Chiba walked straight to the bar, calmly climbed onto the bar stool, sat in front of the bar, and appeared in the sight of many mercenaries and bounty hunters. At first, the people in the tavern did not notice, until Chiba's short, extremely abrupt figure sat at the bar, which attracted the attention of many people. A little fart boy also became a mercenary, actually came to this kind of place to mingle, someone said with a smile, full of ridicule. After these words sounded, there was a burst of laughter in the tavern, followed by another mocking word, not taking Kinyi seriously at all. Kinyi was too lazy to pay attention to the ridicule of these weak and ignorant people, his expression was still calm, and he did not have the slightest nervousness. "Boss, bring me a glass of wine." Kinyi looked at the tavern owner who was busy at the bar and spoke. The tavern owner was an old man with gray hair, not tall, a little fat, wearing a pair of glasses, and the wrinkles on his face were like ravines, straddling the corners of his eyebrows. The tavern owner turned around, his gaze fell on Kinyi, and he looked at it slightly. "Little one, this kind of place is not for you." Out of good intentions, the tavern owner reminded Chiba that he didn't want to see Chiba unlucky here. In taverns infested by mercenaries and bounty hunters, things happen almost every day, and sometimes they even make a name for themselves. When such a little guy appeared in the tavern, he was naturally noticed by others, and if he came to find trouble, it would be trouble. "I think I'm a good fit to be here." Kinyi showed a confident smile and said calmly, "Boss, thank you for the reminder, you don't have to worry about me, bring me a bar." Seeing Kinyi like this, the tavern owner shook his head slightly, stopped persuading, and turned around to pour wine for Chiba. In less than half a minute, the tavern owner placed a large gulp glass full of spirits on the bar counter and pushed it in front of Chiba. "The wine you want, a gold coin." The tavern owner's calm voice sounded. Kinyi did not hesitate, took out a gold coin, handed it to the tavern owner, and then took a large sip of the glass and drank the spirit very well. In places like the border, which are full of blood and fire, spirits are the most popular, so taverns are basically only this kind of wine, and it is strong enough. Kinyi took a sip of strong wine into his abdomen, and immediately felt a burst of heat in his body, and his anger became a lot more irritable. Although it was a little uncomfortable, it made people feel very refreshed. Kinyi was sitting on the bar in the tavern, and the picture looked very abrupt, which made many mercenaries feel very distracting, and they had the idea of humiliating Chiba in their hearts. In a place where there is a perennial war like the border, there is no need for the weak, and if you want to be respected by others and be feared by others, then you will become an absolute strong person and show great strength. "Little ghost, you don't have hair growing, just come here to drink, your guts are fat enough." A burly mercenary with a scumbag, sloppy-looking and drunken face came to Kinyi's side, squinted at Kinyi, and spoke, revealing disdain. Some people stood up to make trouble, and the other mercenaries were also happy to watch the excitement, and they all looked sideways and showed a playful smile to see how Kinyi coped with this matter. If you want mercenaries and bounty hunters in the tavern not to trouble him, he must show his strength and make everyone think that he is strong enough not to provoke him. However, most people in the tavern thought that Chiba was just a little guy, and it was certain that Chiba would be humiliated wherever he could be. Get out of the way and don't get in my way. Kinyi did not turn his head to look at the burly mercenary, and said coldly, his attitude was very cold. Hearing Kinyi's cold words, and being completely ignored, the mercenaries who came to find fault were suddenly very unhappy, and there was a trace of anger in their hearts. Stinky boy, dare to talk to me like this, see if I give you a good look. The burly mercenary stood up coldly, swung his broad palm, and slapped it towards Kinyi's head. The force of this slap is very large, and if it really falls, it can overturn Kinyi. However, Kinyi will not slap others like this for no reason. Kinyi felt a gust of palm wind blowing, his eyes became sharp, and when the slap was less than 10 centimeters away from his head, he brazenly struck. Boom! Suddenly, a dull voice sounded, echoing in the tavern. The burly mercenary's slap failed to fall on Kinyi's head, but the whole person was like a sandbag, suddenly flying out upside down, hitting the pillar 3 meters away, making a dull sound, and then fell to the ground, covering his abdomen, and muttered in pain. Before the many mercenaries in the tavern could react, they didn't even know what was happening, when they saw that the mercenary who originally wanted to deal with Chiba was blasted out. Everyone couldn't see Kinyi's movements clearly, but they saw the troublemaking mercenaries being blasted out and hitting the pillar. For a while, the entire tavern fell silent, no one spoke, and his eyes focused on Kinyi, obviously a little surprised and unbelievable. Kinyi turned around from the bar stool, his eyes were very cold, and he scanned the tavern. If you think I'm a child, you can come and trouble me as much as you want, but I'm a very bad temper and will make you pay. Kinyi spoke, his attitude looked arrogant, which made people look very uncomfortable. Seeing that Kinyi was actually so arrogant, the mercenaries in the tavern were very unhappy, and they couldn't look past it. It's just that they saw that the mercenary who was looking for fault before was easily cleaned up by Kinyi, which made them a little jealous in their hearts, shocked most people, and made them dare not easily find trouble with Kinyi. Yo, the tone is not small, but it's just a little furry child. I really think of myself as a character. Although most people dare not open their mouths to drink Kinyi, there are still some hard stubble, and they will not be afraid of Kinyi and dare to oppose him. Hearing this voice, everyone in the tavern turned their heads one after another, looking for someone to speak, and finally their eyes fell on the tavern near the window. In that position, sat a young man wearing a black tights, about 20 years old, with a resolute and angular face, and a sneer on his face, exuding a trace of fierce momentum. Obviously, this young man's strength is not bad. It is estimated that he is not an ordinary mercenary, and he may be a ninja. Seeing this young man and Chiba confronting each other, everyone in the tavern immediately became interested, feeling that this matter would be wonderful and worth looking forward to. If you look down on me and deal with me, I want to see what you are capable of, Kinyi said coldly, not afraid at all. Even though the young man in front of him is a superior ninja, with Kinyi's strength, there is no need to be afraid at all, and he has the confidence to deal with it. Do you really think I wouldn't dare? The young man in black looked at Kinyi, his eyes became cold, and he uttered icy words. As he spoke, he had already thrown out a shuriken, cut an arc, and attacked towards Kinyi, with a fast speed, almost in the blink of an eye. Seeing the other party use his shuriken, Kinyi knew that the young man in black was a ninja, but his strength was not very strong, at most it was only at the level of middle ninja. Kinyi squinted his eyes slightly, watching the shuriken attack. In his eyes, the speed of the shuriken was very slow, it was completely easy to dodge, and it was impossible to hurt him. Just when the shuriken attacked in front of him, Kinyi did not dodge, but directly shot, leaned out his right hand, and grabbed the shuriken. When he grabbed the shuriken with his right hand, the palm of his right hand immediately emitted a stream of flames, enveloping the shuriken and preventing himself from being harmed. When everyone in the tavern saw this situation, they couldn't help but be a little dumbfounded. They didn't expect that Kinyi actually caught the shuriken like this, which was really unexpected. After Kinyi caught the attacking shuriken, he was not polite, and the flick was 3 shurikens, drawing a larger arc and attacking the black-clothed youth from different directions. In the face of Chiba's attack, the young man in black snorted coldly, supported his left hand on the chair, twisted his body, made elegant movements, and dodged the shuriken. The young man in black easily dodged the attack of his shuriken, and was proud of his ability, revealing a confident smile. However, just as he showed a smile, a shuriken with flames suddenly appeared in front of him, which immediately startled him. This shuriken with flames, but he attacked it, did not expect that Kinyi would throw it back now. At the moment of emergency, the young man in black was not slow to react, and his body immediately leaned back, dodging the shuriken that attacked him. The young man in black could feel the burning sensation emitted when the flaming shuriken struck and slashed over his face. Dodging the shuriken, the young man in black breathed a sigh of relief, feeling a little happy in his heart. It's just that the time he can rejoice is short, because N.A.N does not intend to give the other party a chance to breathe. N.A.N's figure disappeared from the bar stool, and in the next instant, he appeared above the young man in black. His eyes were still very cold, revealing disdain. This ability still dares to come out and be arrogant and look for death, N.A.N said coldly. Hearing this voice sounding beside him, and N.A.N was in front of him, the black-clothed young man who was originally relieved suddenly became awe-inspiring, revealing a panicked look. The young man in black wanted to dodge, but there was no chance, and N.A.N would not give him a chance. N.A.N will not be polite, directly launched land foot, like a battle axe, slashed down strongly, and landed on the abdomen of the black-clothed youth. Boom! The young man in black couldn't carry it at all, his body was bombarded to the ground, shattering the ground, and the whole person slammed into the floor, smashing out a big pit. Suffering such a heavy blow, the young man in black stood up, fell to the ground, screamed in pain, covered the position of his abdomen, his face was very painful, and tears were left. N.A.N stood on the table next to him, looking at the black-clothed youth who fell in the pit, revealing a disdainful expression. At this time, except for the painful screams of the young man in black, no one in the tavern spoke. All fell silent, holding their breath and staring. Their eyes fell on N.A.N, and they couldn't believe it. They really didn't expect that N.A.N, who was just a child, was so strong that he easily defeated the black-clothed youth who dared to open his mouth to provoke, showing that he was domineering and shocked everyone in the tavern. "Do you still want to underestimate me now, come to my trouble?" N.A.N spoke, his eyes full of murderous intent. Everyone in the tavern did not dare to underestimate N.A.N, looking at him like a monster. Chiba regained his composure, ignored the others, walked back to the bar, sat back on the bar stool, and drank leisurely as if nothing had happened. "Boss, I heard that I can take the task from you?" N.A.N took a sip of wine, looked up, and opened his mouth to ask the tavern owner. "Instead, you can take the task, and the task on this side of the border is very simple, that is, to kill the rogues who disrupt the border, 50 gold coins per person, and use their left ear as a proof." The tavern owner came to Chiba and spoke. "Well, I like such a task," N.A.N said, revealing a confident smile. "Little fellow, although your strength is very strong, but in a place like the border, it is better to be careful. After all, it is not only the rogues who disturb the peace of the border, but also the ninjas of other countries." The tavern owner saw that N.A.N was so confident, and even a little arrogant, but he couldn't help but open his mouth to remind him. "I'll be careful," Chiba answered, picked up the wine glass on the bar, drank the rest of the spirit in one gulp, and left the tavern. The mercenaries in the tavern could only watch N.A.N leave, and did not dare to speak provocatively. The two mercenaries with good strength had become their role models, and they were very jealous. Bite. Great event delivery. If the host kills 100 people within 5 days, it can obtain the ability of frozen fruit. Requirements: the number of people killed by the host reaches 52, and there are still 48 people left to complete the task, and among these 48 people, there must be 4 Zongnan. The sound of the one-piece system prompt sounds, explaining the rewards and requirements of the mission. After getting such a task, N.A.N's mood was still quite excited, and he was looking forward to the frozen fruit. As long as he can obtain the ability of frozen fruit, then there will be a lot more combat means, and the combat effectiveness can be improved by a lot, and it is not a problem to fight against shadow-level powerhouses. Now that the time is not early, N.A.N is not in a hurry to complete this killing mission immediately, but finds a hotel, temporarily stays and rests. Anyway, with his strength, in 5 days, if you want to kill 48 people, it is not difficult, but it is a little difficult to find 4 middle ninja. The next day, the sky was clear and sunny, and it was a good time to kill. After Chiba got up, he changed into a blue combat uniform and a satchel tied around his waist, left the hotel, and rushed towards the chaotic area of the border. On the border between the land of fire and the land of grass, there is a misty forest, which is the most chaotic area, from which rogues often enter the land of fire, and it is also the place where the most fights are worst. Chiba wants to start a crazy feast, and the location he chooses is the misty forest. Moreover, in the misty forest, it is also the place where the probability of Naka shinobi appearing is the largest, and there is no better choice for Chiba other than the misty forest. An hour and a half later, Chiba appeared outside the misty forest on the border of the fire country, looking at the vast forest, feeling a little excited. The misty forest is very vast, crisscrossing the border between the country of fire and the country of grass, which is tens of kilometers long, and it is full of fog all year round, which can hide its whereabouts to a large extent, and is the easiest area to penetrate the country of fire. "I'm coming, you guys wait to tremble." N.A.N showed a cold smile and spoke. He whistled, did not hesitate, and rushed towards the misty forest, like a cheetah moving, and began a hunt. A moment later, N.A.N appeared in the misty forest, did not hide his whereabouts, but walked in it in an upright manner, as if to be used as bait to lure out those guys who were about to move, and then bombard them. Generally, mercenaries who enter the misty forest to kill the invading rogues will not choose to act alone, they will act in groups, and they will also take care of each other, and the chance of survival will be improved. Only some guys who are confident enough and strong enough will enter the misty forest alone. However, after entering the misty forest, it is still rare for Kinyi to act swaggeringly and without disguise, and it can only be said that Kinyi is a freak. In the area where Chiba was located, there were also other mercenaries and bounty hunters walking, and seeing him acting alone, he couldn't help but grow his head for a while, feeling that Chiba was a problem child. Does that kid over there have a brain problem? Thinking of living alone for too long? Does he boast that he has enough strength to kill people who come against him and use himself as bait? When some mercenaries saw Kinyi's behavior, they couldn't help but talk about it. Kinyi ignored others and walked towards the dangerous area of the misty forest, with a leisurely pace, like a walk after dinner, without the slightest nervousness. Half an hour later, Chiba appeared in an area 15 kilometers from the misty forest. The fog here is thicker, visibility is lower, and you can hardly see anything 10 meters away, and you need to maintain a high degree of vigilance to move here. However, for Kinyi, the fog is nothing at all, because he has a domineering appearance, and his perception is very strong, and he can sense living creatures moving dozens of meters away. As long as he was within his perception range, Kinyi could sense it, approaching like a cheetah, and then attack. Has someone finally entered my hunting grounds? Kinyi slowly turned around and looked towards the right. Although there was a lot of fog in front of him, with his domineering attitude, he could sense that there was a squad of 4 people in action about 30 meters away. From the fact that these 4 people rushed from the direction of the land of grass to the direction of the land of fire, it can be judged that they are trying to invade the land of fire. In the next instant, Kinyi moving like a cheetah, approaching the 4 people. Half a minute later, Kinyi appeared on a large tree, completely converged his breath, and looked at the 4 people walking below, not hiding their figures much. Through their conversations, Chiba could determine that these people were not from the Fire Nation, but from other countries. As long as it is determined that people who are not the land of fire, for Chiba, it is enough, and there is no need to know too much. Hey, you don't have to go to the land of fire, so let's stop here. Kinyi stood on the trunk of the tree, no longer hiding his figure, standing tall, looking down at each other, and said coldly, as if looking at 4 people. What are you? Hearing Kinyi's words, the 4 people who were rushing immediately raised their heads, looked at Kinyi, and opened their mouths to question. 4, you don't need to know my name, Kinyi said coldly. Saying that, Kinyi has already taken action, swooping down towards the 4 people below, extremely fast, almost flashing, in the blink of an eye, he is close to the other party, quickly shot, and strong killing. Seeing Kinyi approaching so quickly, the 4 people were shocked and wanted to dodge, but they couldn't react, and it was too late. Boom, boom, boom. In less than 10 seconds, as 4 voices sounded, blood flowers bloomed in the air, and before the 4 people could scream, their bodies crashed to the ground, completely killed, and they couldn't even make a superfluous sound. After easily solving the 4 people, Chiba took a knife and cut off their left ear, put it in a cloth bag, and left the place, continuing to go elsewhere to harvest the lives of others. In the following time, Chiba transformed into a killing god, walking all over the misty forest, killing mercenaries and ninjas from various countries who tried to enter the land of fire and carry out destruction. Just to deal with some low-level opponents, Kinyi did not spend any effort, easily killed the opponent, and still used the shortest time to show efficient combat art. 3 days passed, and the sack that Kinyi was carrying had begun to sink heavily and was stained red with blood. After 3 days of hunting, Chiba had already killed 50 people in the misty forest, including 2 Naka shinobi. Because the number of Naka shinobi killed has not yet reached the requirements, there are still 2 left, so his task has not yet been completed. What Kinyi wants to do now is to quickly find out the 2 middle ninja, and then kill them to complete this task. Some of the people Chiba killed were mercenaries from the Fire Nation because they wanted to take Chiba's loot. Mercenaries who enter the misty forest, no matter who can bring the enemy's left ear back, can get rewards, so some mercenaries who want to easily obtain loot, regardless of where the other party belongs, even teammates will kill and monopolize the loot. Kinyi is not a good man and a woman, and has no sense of belonging to the country of fire, naturally has no good impression of the mercenaries of the country of fire. He does not deal with the mercenaries of the country of fire. It is already very good, others want to fight his idea, then he will definitely not show mercy to his subordinates and make the other party pay. In 3 days, Chiba killed 2 mercenary squads belonging to the land of fire, numbering 12, and they naturally had to pay with their lives in order to take Chiba's loot. Other ninja villages are true, most of them actually sent some rookies over. It's not enough to see it all, send more middle ninja and upper ninja over, that's the right thing, just when I can open a killing ring. Chiba walks deep in the misty forest, looking for Nakashinobu. If he encounters an enemy rogue, he will naturally not be polite and directly kill him, but the main thing he has to do now is to find out the middle ninja and complete this task. Half an hour later, when Kinyi was walking, he sensed a distance close to the limit of seeing and hearing domineering, and sensed the movement of the fight, and this level of battle was very strong, which was not comparable to ordinary rogues. Through perception, in front of Kinyi's left, at a distance of about 70 meters, there were 3 people fighting, or 3 people joining forces to besiege one. Based on Chiba's experience, it is speculated that those who are fighting fiercely definitely have the level of upper patience. This is about to be staged, Kinyi muttered, revealing a bright smile. Without hesitation, he immediately converged his breath and quickly rushed to the area where he was fighting. After he passed through the fog, he quietly came to the place where the battle broke out. In the field, a ninja wearing a Konoha ninja suit and holding a kunai in his hands was confronting three ninjas. Without the slightest panic, his expression was calm, his eyes were very sharp, and he was full of murderous intent. When he saw the appearance of the Konoha ninja, Chiba was slightly surprised. This is not the eldest son of the third generation of Hokage Ape Hibiki, Sarutobi Shinnishuk. Sarutobi Shinnishuk is the eldest son of the third generation of Hokage. His own talent is very against the sky. He became a shinobi at a young age, and he is good at wooden ninjutsu, and is a high-status shinobi in Konoha village. If he hadn't died in battle when he was young, he would probably have a chance to compete for the position of Hokage in the later stage. Sarutobi Shinnishuk confronted three ninjas, holding a sword in his hand. In front of him, his eyes were very sharp, and he did not panic in the slightest, and did not fall behind. N.A.N stole our Konoha's secret military documents, hand them over now. Sarutobi Shinnishuk glanced at the three Kumo shinobu and said coldly. Sarutobi Shinnishuk, although your strength is very good, but you came alone and want to snatch back military documents, do you think you have this ability? Yun Shinobu Super Shinobu glanced at Sarutobi Shinnishuk and said coldly, not very jealous. Yun Shinobu went to Ninja Sam Mountain. His figure is relatively burly, he is 1 meter 8 meters tall, wearing a grey combat uniform, half of his face is covered, there is a scar at the corner of his eyes, and his eyes are very sharp, like a sharp blade out of the sheath. The ninjas of Union Village are more advocating martial arts, so they are not only good at thunder, but also quite strong, and swordsmanship is even more prominent, so the three Yunin are carrying swords. Once they fight closely, they will have a great advantage. The three Kumo shinobi stood in three different positions, surrounding Sarutobi Shinnishuk, ready to fight. If a battle breaks out, give them the opportunity to get close and launch a hand-to-hand battle, and with their superb swordsmanship, it will be very difficult to compete with them. With me alone, I can defeat you without the need for other helpers, Sarutobi Shinnishuk said with disdain. Of course, he was just saying it verbally, but he didn't dare to really underestimate the three Yunren, otherwise, he would be carried here. Although you are the son of the third generation of Hokage, don't think that you are very powerful. If we kill the son of the third generation of Hokage here, will Konoha village shake? Sam Shan sneered and said conspiratorially. There is no if, because you have no chance, you will all die here, Sarutobi Shinnishuk said coldly. Then give it a try, Sam Shan said disapprovingly. Let's do it together. Sam Shan gave the order and immediately took action, rushing towards Sarutobi Shinnishuk, mobilizing the chakra in his body, sealing his hands and launching a ninjutsu attack. After hearing Sam Shan's order, the two Union shinobu did not hesitate, and at the same time, they took action and rushed towards Sarutobi Shinnishuk. Standing on a large tree 10 meters away from the battlefield, Kinyi gathered all his breath, hiding in the fog, paying attention to the situation on the battlefield, and was not in a hurry to act. Anyway, with the strength of Sarutobi Shinnishuk, even if he is not defeated by the three Yunin, he will be able to resist and hold out for a while, and he will not be easily defeated. Thunderball, Thunderball. Sam Shen rushed over, the seal had been completed, and the thunder attribute chakra burst out, forming 5 thunderballs, forming an arc, rushing towards Sarutobi Shinnishuk, making the sound of ZZ. The other two Naka shinobi who came close also performed thunder ninjutsu and besieged Sarutobi Shinnishuk. In the face of such a siege, Sarutobi Shinnishuk did not have the slightest panic, his expression was still calm, and he did not panic. He sheathed the sword in his hand, ran the chakra, sealed his hands, and performed the wooden ninjutsu, N.A.N technique. As Sarutobi Shinnishuk performed this ninjutsu, his body immediately submerged into the ground under his feet, and his body quickly disappeared, leaving his original position. By the time he dedicated himself again, he had appeared a few meters behind Sam Mountain. After Sarutobi Shinnishuk appeared, he did not pause for a moment, his hands were already sealed, and he pressed on the ground, transporting chakra to the ground. Tudun Tulio Great River. Suddenly, the ground in front of Sarutobi Shinnishuk's eyes immediately became soft, like mud flowing, surging forward, wanting to drown the three Kumo shinobi and restrict their ability to move. Seeing that the ground under their feet turned into surging mud, the three Cloud Ninja were slightly awe-inspiring, but their speed of action was not slow, and they quickly withdrew back, opening up a distance and avoiding this area. After dodging the attack, they adjusted their state and approached Sarutobi Shinnishuk from different directions and attacked. 3 Cloud Ninja rushed over, and the thunder ninjutsu burst out, the thunder flashed, the thunder roared, and many trees were overturned, and even broken and fell to the ground. Sarutobi Shinnishuk relied on his strength to perform a powerful Earth Dun ninjutsu, but because Lei Dun restrained the Earth Dun, he could not exert his full strength, and he was constrained everywhere, and gradually fell behind, making him a little embarrassed. Sarutobi Shinnishuk, your Earth ninjutsu is certainly powerful, but if you encounter our Cloud ninjutsu, you can't exert your full strength. Samson stood in front of Sarutobi Shinnishuk and said jokingly. After this battle, the three of Sam suppressed Sarutobi Shinnishuk, thinking that they would win steadily, so they had such arrogance and felt that they had eaten each other. Even if you can't exert your full strength, it's enough to deal with you. Sarutobi Shinnishuk spoke, his eyes still fierce, and he didn't have the slightest fear. As he spoke, he once again drew the knife at his waist and held it in front of him, posing in a fighting stance. Since the Tsuka ninjutsu was restrained by N.A.N, Sarutobi Shinnishuk did not plan to continue to use it, and directly used his superb physical skills to divide a victory or defeat with N.A.N. Hee, don't you know that we N.A.N generally advocate martial arts, and all ninjas are physically superb and proficient in swordsmanship? Samson couldn't help but laugh when he saw Sarutobi Shinnishuk using the Teijiao, showing disdain. If you want to fight us with physical skills, you will only be defeated faster, the forbearant N.A.N said, also very disdainful. Of course, your N.A.N's physical skills are very strong, but please don't underestimate others, Sarutobi Shinnishuk said proudly, also full of confidence in his physical skills. If he didn't have confidence, how dare he chase and kill 3 Union ninjas alone? In that case, let's see who is stronger, Sam Shan said coldly. Kinyi stood on the tree trunk not far away and watched, almost falling asleep, but this battle, there was no trend of victory and defeat, which made him very helpless. According to Chiba's personality, a battle lasts a few minutes, which is already a long time. After all, if he makes a move, it will be with the trend of crushing, in the shortest time, to end a battle. Chiba has run out of patience and continues to watch this boring battle, so he decides to appear in kindness and end this battle. Moreover, there are 2 Naka ninja who he has been looking for a long time, and must die under his hands to complete his mission. Oops, you guys are so boring to fight like this, watching me fall asleep, Kinyi said lazily, his voice echoing in this area, making people feel very strange. Samsen's 3 Kumo shinobi were about to attack Sarutobi Shinnishuk, but this voice suddenly sounded, which immediately surprised them, and took 2 steps back, turning their eyes, scanning the surrounding environment, looking for the person who spoke. Sarutobi Shinnishuk was equally surprised, not expecting that there were other people here. Moreover, since he dares to appear at such a time, his strength must not be weak, and he may reach the level of upper patience. If this person is in a hostile position with him, then if you unite the 3 N.A.N, Sarutobi Shinnishuk will be in trouble, maybe he will really explain here. So, knowing that there were other people here, Sarutobi Shinnishuk was even more nervous than the 3 Kumo shinobu and couldn't remain calm. Kinyi no longer hid his figure, exerted force under his feet, and then cast a moonstep, rushed out of the fog, like a ghost walking in the air, slowly descended, and appeared in front of the 4 people on the field. Seeing that although Kinyi is a child, he is able to glide in the air, just like flying, so that the 3 of Union dare not underestimate, and even a little pressure. Kinyi landed down and stood not far from the 4 people, the whole person was very calm, just like walking after dinner, just passing by here, without the slightest nervousness. It's just that since he appeared, the atmosphere has changed, revealing a hint of tension. What are you? Sam Shan looked at Chiba and asked, remaining vigilant. I am your enemy, and I am also a ninja of Konoha. Kinyi turned around, looked at Sam Shan, showed a bright smile, and said with a smile, as if it was harmless to humans and animals, another Konoha ninja to die? Sam Shan snorted coldly, his eyes flashed with murderous intent, and he became stronger. You are a Konoha ninja, what's your name? Hearing Chiba say this, Sarutobi Shinnishuk was surprised, and he didn't expect to meet Konoha's ninja here, which was really unexpected. Kimu Chiba, Sarutobi Shinnishuk, your strength as a shinobi, but so? You can't deal with the 3 N.A.N, because you are still the son of the 3rd generation of Hokage, it is simply a disgrace to him. Chiba signed up directly, and his mouth was unobtrusive, and he was also unkind to Sarutobi Shinnishuk. Kinyi is now pursuing a life of leisure, not afraid of anyone, saying whatever comes to mind, and not worrying about how others feel. It turns out that you are the monster of the Kimu family. Sarutobi Shinnishuk was suddenly startled, and looked at Kinyi with wide eyes, not expecting to encounter this demon who was teleported here. It's young Master Ben, Kinyi said disapprovingly. Anyway, I'm also your senior, shouldn't you treat me with some respect? Sarutobi Shinnishuk said in a slightly cold voice. If you are better than me, I will respect you, but you don't have that ability, how do you want me to respect you? Even 3 Cloud Ninja can't solve it. Kinyi said disdainfully, not the slightest bit afraid of Sarutobi Shinnishuk. Hearing Chiba's words, Sarutobi Shinnishuk was very unhappy in his heart, and there was a sense of anger, wanting to teach this guy in front of him who did not know how to respect his elders. This son is too arrogant for him to stand it. However, they are both Konoha ninjas, now is not the time to make trouble, the first thing to do is to deal with the 3 Kumo shinobi in front of them, otherwise they will leave. Kinyi, let's put other things aside first, deal with the 3 N.A.N first, and take back the military secret scrolls they snatched. Sarutobi Shinnishuk took a deep breath to calm himself down, and then opened his mouth to say to Chiba, I don't have a problem, you first help me delay Union Shangnan, and when I solve the 2 Zongnan, then deal with Shangnan. Kinyi shrugged his shoulders and spoke, as if he was discussing a trivial matter, irrelevant, and seemed very casual. Kinyi, even if your talent is very good and your strength is good, but you are only at the level of middle ninja now, can you deal with 2 cloud hidden middle ninja? Sarutobi Shinnishuk asked, still a little worried. Although he was a little unhappy to see Chiba, no matter how much Kinyi said, he was also a ninja of Konoha, and he couldn't watch Kinyi being killed. Moreover, even if Kinyi can kill a special shinobi alone, but the two elite shinobi join forces, the strength is not weaker than the special Sharingan, or even a little stronger, Kinyi may not be able to deal with it. In Sarutobi Shinnishuk's opinion, it is still a lot of difficulty for Kinyi to deal with the two Union elites, and with Chiba's arrogant personality, he may even miss a hand. Don't worry, you don't have to worry about me, you still worry about yourself, Kinyi said disdainfully, walking towards the two clouds in the shadows. His eyes flickered, and finally he stopped his hip-hop expression, became serious, and revealed murderous intent. Don't be arrogant, it's just a little brat, see how we clean you up, and beat you up so much that you don't even know your mother. A cloud in the shadow of patience opened his mouth to drink. You two go together, you can't be careless. Sam Shen gave orders to both of his subordinates. The two clouds endured a sigh, glanced at each other, did not hesitate, and immediately rushed towards Kinyi and launched an offensive. Sam Shen did not hesitate, pulled out the tie knife on his back, and launched an attack on Sarutobi Shinnishuk. Seeing the two Zongnin attacking, Kinyi was not polite, launched a shaving, the figure immediately disappeared in place, and in the blink of an eye, he approached a cloud-hidden shinobi, and his right foot launched the land foot, like a long sword, sweeping over strongly. Union Zongren originally wanted to approach Kinyi and then wave his sword to attack, but he didn't expect the other party's speed to be so fast, and he approached in the blink of an eye, and the unexpected attack really surprised him. Union Zhong couldn't help but hesitate, and immediately swung the Taideo that had not yet come out of the blue, blocking it in front of him, otherwise, he would only suffer more severe trauma. Boom! Although the other party resisted, Kinyi's attack did not stop, and Arashi still swept out, bursting out with extremely strong power. As a voice sounded, like a metal collision, Union Zongnin felt that he was being hit by a heavy force, his body fell backwards, and his hands were shaken into a sharp pain. Another Union Zongren saw such a situation, and immediately determined that Kinyi's strength was not weak, and if he wanted to defeat his opponent, he must not be careless, and he had to go all out. He did not stop because of this, but continued to rush forward, running chakra, his hands sealed, and launched the Thunder Ninjutsu attack. Lay done lay dog. As his seal was completed, the Thunder Attribute Chakra burst out, swept forward, and constantly twisted and changed, forming a 1-meter-tall Thunder Dog, carrying a powerful Thunder power and attacking towards Kinyi. This is an A-level ninjutsu, but the power is very powerful. If it is attacked, it will definitely be damaged. Under the domineering perception of seeing and hearing the color, even if Kinyi did not see the Union Ninja attack in the rear, he could feel a powerful force that was bombarding him. Fire Fist. Kinyi landed on tiptoe, his body immediately turned, facing the Thunder Dog who attacked, raised his fist, and immediately blasted out with a strong Fire Fist. The flames burst out, forming a huge fist, much larger than the Thunder Dog, bursting out with stronger power, against the Thunder Dog. The Fire Fist and the Thunder Dog collided together, like two giant beasts colliding, and immediately emitted a roar, and thunder and flames burst out, which looked brilliant and had a great visual impact. Although Union Zongnin's lay done is not bad, but compared with Kinyi's Fire Fist, the power is still a lot worse, so he can only stalemate for a while, and he is defeated by the Fire Fist, and continues to bombard Zongnin. Seeing such a situation, Union was shocked and immediately retreated back, while moving to the right to avoid the raging Fire Fist. After the two Union shinobi saw Kinyi's strength, they were all shocked. They didn't expect that it was just a little furry child. The strength was so strong, if they fought alone, it was really a little difficult to accept to be above them. This little ghost's strength is not bad, let's join forces to solve him. Union Zhong Shinobu, who was forced back by Arashi's foot, came to his companion and spoke. The other Union Zongren was not stubborn, and after answering, he acted with his companions, rushed to Kinyi, and joined forces to attack. What about you joining forces? You are still not my opponent, Kinyi said coldly, confident enough in himself. The two Union shinobi did not respond, and after approaching, they ran chakra, sealed their hands, and cast a Thunder Ninjutsu attack. Thunder, go Razor! A cloud of hidden patience stopped in an instant, slapped his hands on the ground, and entered chakra into the ground, sending out a playful thunderbolt, like countless crazy snakes rushing, attacking towards Kinyi at great speed. This Naka ninja cast such a ninjutsu attack to force Chiba into the air, and then make Chiba unable to dodge the attacks behind, so that his companions could fight for such an opportunity and defeat Chiba in one fell swoop. Seeing the Thunder Snake turned into thunder and lightning, quickly attacked, Kinyi did not think too much. Just as the other party expected, the foot slightly forced, the whole person came to the air, avoiding the thunder and lightning moving on the ground. Seeing Kinyi behaving like this, the Zongnin, who launched the Razor Ninjutsu, couldn't help but scream, feeling that Kinyi had been fooled, and no one could save him. Lay done 3,000 Thunder Rods. Just as Kinyi left the ground, another Union Zongren did not hesitate and launched a powerful Thunder Ninjutsu. Suddenly, Naka Shinobu spewed the Thunder Attribute Chakra out of his mouth, and immediately formed an extremely fine thunder rod, like a steel nail, densely attacking towards Qin almost all over the space in front of him, without much space. It is very difficult to avoid these lightning rods. In the eyes of the two Union Zhongnan, even if Qin strength is good, if he wants to dodge such an attack, it is impossible, and he can only suffer heavy damage and be defeated by them. You're dead. Union couldn't help but say coldly, looking like he was sure of Qin. Looking at those densely attacked thunder rods, Qin did not have the slightest nervousness, revealed a cold smile, and looked at the eyes of the two Union patients, just like looking at a dead person. Yes? Qin responded lightly, with a hint of contempt. As he spoke, his body shook violently, and flames immediately burst out, filling the surrounding space, submerging him in it, and soon disappeared, making people unable to see his body and not knowing what his situation was. The two Union shinobi were surprised to see such a situation. They didn't know what kind of ninjutsu Qin was performing, and it was really unexpected that they could do this. Those lightning rods with great power were not blocked, and the attack entered the flames, but it was like a mud cow entering the sea, and there was no movement. After Qin's body disappeared, he didn't scream, and he didn't know if he was injured. Airplanes. The originally swollen and churning flames broke, and 9 flame spears attacked out of the flames, attacking towards the 2 clouds in the sky. The speed was very fast, but in the blink of an eye, it came to them, and was about to pierce their bodies. Seeing the flame spear attacking, the 2 clouds were horrified, almost relying on instinctive actions, forcibly letting their bodies withdraw backwards, dodging the 9 flame spears that attacked and avoiding a catastrophe. Of just when the 2 Union shinobi had just withdrawn and landed on the ground, the flames suspended in the air trembled again. Qin was in the flames, launched a shaving, and his body quickly rushed out, making it difficult for people's naked eyes to capture his figure. Just for a moment, Qin appeared above the 2 clouds in the middle of the sky, and there were flames on his right hand, which looked terrifying. Mirror flame. Qin did not hesitate, did not intend to waste time, and wanted to quickly solve these 2 middle ninja and end this war. The power of Mirror Fire Yan is even more powerful than the Fire Fist, and the range of the envelope will be wider, so that Union and the 2 Zhongnan have no way to dodge. They will be shrouded below, and they will suffer terrifying attacks. The 2 Union shinobu barely could react, and they saw terrifying flames, like suppressed mountains, hanging above them, suppressing their bodies and making them unable to dodge. Rumble. The mirror fire bombarded down, directly drowning the 2 clouds, and blasted out a large pit with a diameter of 20 meters and a depth of 10 meters on the ground, just like a meteorite impacting it. Moreover, after the mirror fire slammed into the ground, it burst out with a powerful force, raging around, destroying the decay, destroying the nearby trees, and looking devastated. The fog within a radius of several kilometers was affected by the force and all were dispersed, making the visibility here a lot better, and the water was evaporated a lot. It can be imagined that Qin's attack this time is so terrifying, it is absolutely very shocking. Sarutobi Shinashuk and Sam San, who were fighting not far away, were affected by the power that erupted from the mirror fire, and their bodies couldn't help but be shocked back for a distance, and they couldn't help but stop, turned around, and looked at the place where Chiba was fighting in horror. Seeing the big pit with churning flames and black smoke, the 2 upper shinobi were surprised, their eyes widened, and they couldn't believe that it was done by a child, which had a strong impact on them. Is this kid a monster? The strength turned out to be so strong. Sam Shen muttered, his heart was shocked, and his heart was extremely uncalm. It's really a monster. Sarutobi Shinashuk spoke, with a hint of exclamation. Fortunately, Chiba is a ninja of Konoha, and he is in the same camp as Sarutobi Shinashuk, otherwise, even if he encounters such an opponent, it will be difficult to entangle. Union's 2 middle ninja were attacked by the mirror fire flame, they could not dodge at all, they received the most direct and powerful attack, they were bombarded to the ground, burned by the terrifying flames, turned into ashes, and even a whole corpse could not be preserved. Chiba posture was leisurely, slowly descending from the air, standing next to the big pit that rose into flames and emitted black smoke, looking at the 2 upper shinobi not far away. The 2 Naka shinobi have solved it, and you haven't finished the battle yet. Chiba looked at Sarutobi Shinashuk and Samson and said playfully, revealing a bright smile and putting on a harmless appearance of humans and animals. Seeing his sunny smile, Sarutobi Shinashuk and Sam Shan would not think that he was a sunshine boy, but made them feel a chill, thinking that Chiba was a killing god who came out of hell, looking kind, but in fact he was decisive in killing, without the slightest indecision. Bite. The host kills 100 people, including the completion of 4 Naka shinobi missions, obtains frozen fruits, and rewards 70,000 points at the same time. The voice of the One Piece system sounded. As the sound of the One Piece system prompt sounded, Qin could sense that he had obtained the ability of frozen fruit, and his mood couldn't help but get excited. Finally completed this task and obtained the frozen fruit. Qin sighed slightly, and a happy smile bloomed on his face. I said that you are a Union Shangren, 2 of your subordinates have been solved by me, you can't leave alive, it's better to simply cut yourself. Qin was in a good mood, raised his head, looked at Sam Mountain 20 meters away, and spoke. Hearing Kinyi say this, Samshen obviously felt underestimated, and he was also despised by a child, which made him very unhappy, and his heart was churning with anger, wanting to take Kinyi down, and then torture the latter fiercely, so that he could not survive and die. Samshen believes that even if Kinyi's strength is good and he can't kill two of him, it is impossible to easily take him down. After all, there is still a huge gap between upper and middle patients, like a heavenly graben, which is difficult to overcome. Even though Samshan's current situation is not good, surrounded by Konoha's two ninjas, he is in the downwind. If he separates and escapes, there is still a high chance of escaping. In Samshan's heart, at least he thought so he was not so apprehensive, and his expression was still very calm. Even if I can't kill the two of you, but with the two of you, it's delusional to want to keep me and kill me, Samshan said coldly, obviously disdainful. It seems that you are very confident, then try it. Kinyi shrugged his shoulders and said playfully, took a step and walked towards Sam Mountain. The two of us join forces, absolutely keep him, and can't let him escape. Sarutobi Shinnishuk spoke, his expression solemn. After all, Samshan still has the military secrets of the Fire Nation on his body, and he must not let such important documents fall into the hands of the Thunder Country, otherwise it will be used by the Thunder Country and cause huge losses to the Fire Country. You are still an elite upper forbearance. To deal with a union upper forbearance, you actually have to join forces with me. The strength is really incredible, Kinyi said unceremoniously. Hearing Kinyi mocking himself like this, Sarutobi Shinnishuk was really unhappy, and he was a little angry in his heart. If he didn't have to deal with Union Shangren now, he really wanted to do it, teach Kinyi a lesson, and let him know how to respect his seniors. Sarutobi Shinnishuk is also helpless. The earth ninjutsu he is good at is just restrained by Union's thunder ninjutsu, so he cannot exert his full strength and cannot occupy the advantage, so he has been unable to fight for a long time. Sarutobi Shinnishuk snorted coldly, ignored Chiba, and quickly took action, rushing towards Sam Mountain to launch a new round of offensive. Kinyi did not hesitate, moved quickly, and his body disappeared from the spot in an instant, one step ahead of Sarutobi Shinnishuk, approaching Sam Mountain, and launching a fierce attack. Kinyi launched the shaving, his body immediately disappeared, and he instantly approached Samshan's body, holding Kuwu in his hand, stabbing straight towards the opponent's throat, and the attack was very fierce. During the battle between Kinyi and Union Zongnan, Samshan observed and knew that Kinyi could move at great speed, which could be said to be a flash, and now that he finally saw it, he couldn't help but be even more surprised. However, Samshan is very good at physical skills. After all, he is Union Shangnan, and Lei Dun and physical skills are equally prominent. Seeing Kuwu stabbing straight over, Samshan did not panic, and immediately waved the tie knife in his hand, crossed it in front of his throat, and blocked Kuwu with the blade body. Boom! Kuwu collided with the body of the Taideo, and immediately made a sound of metal colliding, and sparks burst out. Seeing Samshan blocking his attack, Chiba was not surprised. This is the level that Shangnan should have. Otherwise, even this level of physical skill attack cannot be easily resisted, then this Union Shangnan is enough food. While the body still has a forward momentum, Kinyi is not swinging Kuwu attack, and the force under his feet is exerted by land foot. Arashi foot line. Kinyi's right foot burst out with power, and quickly kicked forward, attacking Samshan's body, forming a powerful force, like a sword chi, quickly attacking Samshan. Seeing such an attack, Samshan was shocked, knowing that if he was attacked by this force, then he would be in trouble, and it was estimated that he would be injured a lot. He did not dare to slack off in the slightest, and immediately withdrew backwards, moving his body sideways and dodging the attack. Boom! This force rushed out and landed on a thick tree, and this thick tree, easily split by this force, went to both sides to the past. Seeing the end of this tree, Samshan suddenly became awe-inspiring, looking at Kinyi's eyes, becoming more serious, not daring to underestimate the slightest, and even a feeling of uneasiness spread in the bottom of his heart. Tudun Huangquan Marsh. Although Sarutobi Shinnishuk had some prejudices against Chiba, he still made a concerted effort to besiege Sam Mountain together in dealing with Union Shangnan, and quickly ended this battle. As soon as Samshan withdrew and fell to the ground under his feet became soft, like a swamp. As long as he stood on it, his body would fall into it and it would be difficult to break free. Samshan has a strong sense of battle, and when he saw Sarutobi Shinnishuk crouching down to cast the number, he knew that this would be the case, and without the slightest hesitation, he immediately stepped back and opened up a distance. It's just that he just withdrew from the range of the Huangquan Marsh, and his body has not yet adjusted, let alone attack, when he saw Kinyi appear like a ghost, launching a rapid attack. Divine fire, no fire. Kinyi rushed over, blazing flames appeared on his hands, and as his body rushed out, forming two flame spears, quickly breaking through the air and attacking Sam Mountain. Seeing the flame spear attacking, Samshan was not good at defensive type ninjutsu, so he did not resist hard, exerted force under his feet, twisted his body, and rushed to the right to avoid the attack of the flame spear. Tudun Earth Dragon Bomb. Samshan had just dodged Chiba's attack on this side, and Sarutobi Shinnishuk had cast a new ninjutsu attack there. I saw that next to the ground where Sarutobi Shinnishuk was standing, the ground quickly cracked, condensing to form an Earth Dragon, brewing powerful energy bombs, and attacking towards Sam Mountain, which had just landed. The power of the Earth Dragon bullet is very strong. If it is attacked, even Sam Mountain will not be able to eat it, and it will definitely be not lightly damaged. Sam Shen was really helpless. Originally he relied on the advantage of Chakra's attributes to be able to restrain Sarutobi Shinashuk to a certain extent, and even gain the upper hand. However, as Qin Yi joined the battle, his little advantage immediately disappeared, and now he was forced to not even have time to perform ninjutsu, and could only dodge the opponent's attack, which seemed a little embarrassed, making him even more angry in his heart. If it continues like this, Sam Shen may be exhausted if he does not fight back. No, we can't keep going like this, we must change the situation. Sam Shen whispered, his eyes became sharp, and he no longer wavered the slightest. The movements under his feet were fast, and a few UPS and downs dodged the attack of the Earth Dragon bullet. Moreover, when dodging the attack, Sam did not hesitate, ran the chakra, and quickly sealed his hands. Lay done Black Panther. After the seal was completed, Sam Shen did not hesitate in the slightest, and immediately spewed out a stream of thunder attribute chakra from his mouth. After the majestic thunder attribute chakra erupted, it immediately evolved into black lightning, forming a black thunder leopard, which quickly moved and attacked towards Sarutobi Shinashuk. The black thunder leopard moved quickly, almost at lightning speed, and in the blink of an eye, it came to Sarutobi Shinashuk, and quickly attacked the past. In the face of this powerful lightning Black Panther, Sarutobi Shinashuk stood awe-inspiring, did not dare to underestimate it, and cast a soil ninjutsu, blocking in front of him and resisting the impacting thunder Black Panther. It's just that even if a dirt wall is erected to block the impact of the thunder leopard, the powerful thunder power still continues to rage and attack Sarutobi Shinashuk. Samson knew that this ninjutsu could force back Sarutobi Shinashuk, and it was impossible to hurt the other party, so he had to take advantage of this time gap to solve Chiba. After seeing Sarutobi Shinashuk withdraw, Sam Shen did not hesitate at all, like a cheetah, bursting out at extreme speed and rushing towards Chiba. As he moved, thunder flashed on his hands, and thunder and lightning raged out, making a sound that people couldn't stand to hear. Sam intends to launch a melee attack and solve Chiba in one go. As long as Chiba can be defeated, then all that remains is the battle between Sam Shen and Sarutobi Shinashuk. With the advantage of Chakra's attribute, Sam Shen is confident enough to be able to compete with Sarutobi Shinashuk, and will not fall behind. Even if he can't kill Sarutobi Shinashuk, it is a very certain thing to retreat from here. Boy, you give me death. When Sam Shen rushed over, he let out a cold scream, his face became hideous, he looked very terrifying, full of fierce murderous intent, and was reflected by lightning and lightning. Qin Yi acted, not choosing to retreat, not choosing to dodge, but taking the initiative to face the ninja Sam Mountain on Union, to launch a rapid attack and kill the other party in one fell swoop. Seeing that Qin Yi did not dodge, but instead faced him and launched an offensive, Sam Shen was surprised, and felt that Qin Yi was planning to play with his life. However, he felt that in close combat, even if there were two more Chiba, it would not be his opponent, and he had absolute confidence that he could defeat the opponent. If you want to fight with me, you don't have that ability yet. Sam Shen stood up coldly, and had no intention of dodging, and wanted to take advantage of this opportunity to solve Qin Yi. Thunder Heavy Storm. The furious thunder and lightning appeared on Samson's hands, flashing with dazzling thunderlight, and as Samson rushed over, it burst out with powerful power and attacked Qin Yi. In the face of such an attack as Sam Mountain, Qin Yi did not panic, quickly met the past, and launched a strong attack to contend with the other party. Flame Dragon Claw Fist Flame Dragon King. Qin Yi pressed his middle and index fingers together, his ring finger and little finger together, and his thumb poked out, like 3 dragon claws. Immediately afterwards, he activated the ability to burn the fruit, causing the flames to burst out, gathered on his right hand, and quickly burned, looking shocking. As Qin Yi rushed over, the flames became more violent, forming a terrifying fire dragon, carrying powerful power, like an invincible dragon king, to kill all the enemies in front of him. That momentum and coercion were very terrifying. Seeing the flames burst out, suddenly forming a fire dragon, and swooping strongly, Sam Shen felt flustered, and his heart was extremely uneasy. However, at this time, he has no choice at all, and he must fight with Qin Yi, otherwise he will only lose easily. The furious thunder and lightning and the violent fire dragon collided together, making a strong collision, producing a terrifying roar, like a thunder vibration, resounding throughout the area. The powerful power fluctuations raged out to the surroundings, causing the surrounding trees to be immediately destroyed and turned into ashes, and the ground collapsed, and a large pit appeared, twice the scale of the previous Qin Yi blast. Boom! The furious power is like a violent beast, difficult to calm down, raging around, destroying decay, and causing terrifying destruction. The trees within a radius of 50 meters, affected by this force, were all destroyed and ceased to exist, and a large pit appeared, nearly 50 meters in diameter and 30 meters deep. Chiba and Sam Mountain were in the center of the force impact, and naturally they were the ones who were the hardest hit by the force. Fortunately, the Flame Dragon King that erupted from Qin Yi was powerful above the thunder of Mount Sam, making the furious flame power suppress most of the thunder power and could not impact Qin Yi. Although Chiba can elementalize and be immune to physical attacks, he has been strongly opposed to Sam Mountain before, and he cannot be elementalized at all. Moreover, even if he is elementalized, he is not completely immune to lightning attacks. After all, the power of lightning is not a physical attack. How can you be so strong? Samshan could feel that his strength was not as good as Chiba's, and he was being suppressed to the downwind. Because I am already very strong, it is just that you are too confident and overestimate your strength. Qin said coldly, not like a child at all, showing a colder look than an adult. Give me death. Qin drank, and then burst out a force, causing the Flame Dragon King to move forward rapidly, submerging Sam Mountain in it, and making a terrifying impact. Rumble. Sam Mountain was rushed out, immediately engulfed in flames, wanting to resist, wanting to break free, but there was no chance. The sound of screaming, coming from the blazing fire dragon, only became smaller and finally stopped, only the reverberation was echoing. When the fire dragon subsided, N.A.N was bombarded and killed, completely killed, and his body was burned to ashes. Qin descended from the air and landed at the bottom of the big pit. His figure looked a little embarrassed, his breathing became rapid, sweat came out, and his clothes were wet, and his clothes were ravaged by lightning, breaking a few small holes, and he was only slightly injured, and it was not a big deal. In order to deal with N.A.N, Qin consumed most of his physical strength, and his body was a little weak. If you want to kill Shangnan, it seems that it still takes a lot of physical energy. Qin sighed slightly, revealing a bright smile. Killing Sam Mountain means that Chiba kills the first Kami Shinobi, proving that his strength is above Kami Shinobu, and he is only 6 years old now. This is simply a demon. Bite. The host kills the first Shangnan, and the reward weapon is Taideo, Snow Walk. The voice of the One Piece system sounded. After this voice sounded, the space in front of Qin trembled, and a sheathed sword appeared in front of him. Qin did not hesitate and reached out to grab Shuego. Snow Walking, which was obtained by the One Piece King Rissalin in Rogue Town, is a good knife, very sharp, although not the best, but not bad. Sarutobi Shinnishuk, who was standing 20 meters away from the big pit, was shocked when he saw the power of the confrontation between Chiba and Sam Mountain, and he couldn't believe it, worried that Chiba could save his life under this powerful confrontation. So, after the lightning and flames subsided, Sarutobi Shinnishuk immediately rushed over and came to the edge of the big pit. Seeing that Chiba was safe and sound, standing at the bottom of the big pit, only suffering some minor injuries, looking a little embarrassed, and there was no big problem, Sarutobi Shinnishuk finally breathed a sigh of relief. At the same time, he finally realized that Qin was a monster, and he couldn't look at him in normal eyes, and it was best not to be an enemy with him, otherwise it would really be a doom thing. What a monster you are. Sarutobi Shinnishuk looked at Chiba at the bottom of the big pit and spoke. This is his evaluation of Chiba. Haha, killing Shangnan is just a fluke. You don't have to praise me like this. Qin laughed heartlessly, and he was not polite at all. By the skin of one's teeth. Sarutobi Shinnishuk scoffed at this, very disdainful, but he was an elite tolerant, but he could not take Sam Mountain, but Chiba killed Sam Mountain strongly, just a fluke to want to bring it, a fool will believe it. Sarutobi Shinnishuk knew in his heart that even if his chakra attribute restrained Sam-san, it was impossible to kill the other party so strongly. Chiba came out of the deep pit and came to Sarutobi Shinnishuk, keeping a distance of 5 meters and not getting too close. Union's affairs have been solved, but the matter between the two of them has not been solved, and there are still some contradictions. The 3 Union were all blasted to ashes by me, the documents you want to recover are no longer there, you won't blame me. Qin shrugged his shoulders and spoke. Even if the confidential documents are destroyed, Qin will not have any pressure, and he is still very calm. It doesn't matter, as long as this document does not fall into the hands of the enemy, the information has been preserved anyway. Sarutobi Shinnishuk spoke, and did not hold Chiba responsible. Well, since Yunren's matter is solved, it's our turn. I know you are very upset when you see me, think that I am just a little brat, and want to teach me a lesson. Qin looked at Sarutobi Shinnishuk and spoke, still keeping a smile on his face and not having the slightest pressure. Sarutobi Shinnishuk has a lot of opinions about Chiba, feeling that he is just a little brat, acting a little arrogantly, not putting the seniors in his eyes, he should knock it well. However, after hearing Chiba say this, Sarutobi Shinnishuk felt a little speechless, and he was embarrassed to be angry with Chiba again. I have a little opinion about you, but seeing that you are injured now, it is difficult to teach you a lesson, and you have helped me a lot in this matter, otherwise, I can't keep the 3 Yin Shinobi. Sarutobi Shinnishuk touched his chin, a little embarrassed, and spoke. Are you underestimating me getting hurt? This little injury is nothing to me. Qin shrugged his shoulders and spoke, looking confident and not the slightest nervous. You little guy is iron-hearted, you want to compete with me. Sarutobi Shinnishuk squinted, looked at Chiba, and spoke. That's right, I want to fight you and see how strong Konoha's elite shinobu is. Qin spoke, did not hide his purpose, and simply said it. Chiba has now been able to compete with Kami Shinobu and defeat Kami Shinobu, and he now wants to try, and he can defeat the elite Kami Shinobu. You little devil, is the elite shinobi nothing in your eyes? Look down on me so much. Sarutobi Shinnishuk looked at Chiba and spoke, his eyes narrowed, and he was a little dissatisfied with Chiba. It's not to underestimate you, it's to have confidence in yourself. Kinyi spoke, still full of confidence. Since you really want to fight me, then I will satisfy you once and teach you how to respect your predecessors. Sarutobi Shinnishuk took a fighting stance, and his expression became sharp. I just have this intention, let you know my strength, and teach you not to underestimate children in the future. Kinyi said playfully, slowly stepping back and opening up a distance. Then come on, see which of us is stronger. Sarutobi Shinnishuk said decisively. After seeing Chiba's move, Sarutobi Shinnishuk knew that even if Chiba was just a little furry child, his strength was really good, and he couldn't underestimate it, otherwise he would suffer a big loss. Sarutobi Shinnishuk did not hesitate, took action, and rushed towards Chiba. The speed was fast, but in the blink of an eye, he approached Chiba. The two held kuwu in their hands, collided together, made a sonorous sound, and sparks burst out. Chiba and Sarutobi Shinnishuk fought against each other, and the movements were fast and sharp, making people's eyes unable to keep up. If you change to someone with poor physical skills, there is no way to compete with the opponent, and you will be easily defeated. It's hard to believe, you are a little furry child, your physical skills are actually so strong, sharp and decisive, like a martial arts grandmaster. Sarutobi Shinnishuk sighed, his heart excited, and made waves. You know, he cultivated this level of physical art, but it took countless energy and a lot of time to achieve such results. It's not even close, Kinyi said playfully. Boom! The kunao in the hands of the two collided together again, making a soft noise. Just when the two of them were slightly deadlocked, Chiba stabbed a chance, launched Arashi's foot, like a long sword, burst out with powerful power, swept towards Sarutobi Shinnishuk, and slashed. Seeing Chiba's attack, Sarutobi Shinnishuk was surprised, felt a sharp force attack, did not dare to underestimate, did not resist hard, and immediately withdrew backwards, opening the distance. Kinyi did not hesitate, did not intend to easily let go of Sarutobi Shinnishuk, but launched the shaving. His figure immediately disappeared, rushed towards Sarutobi Shinnishuk, and appeared in front of the other party. The two were separated for no more than a moment, and then collided together, and the bitterness in their hands collided, emitting a metallic sound, and sparks burst out. Chiba collided with Sarutobi Shinnishuk by Kumu, and then launched Arashi foot to suppress Sarutobi Shinnishuk with a sharp posture. After fighting with Chiba, Sarutobi Shinnishuk understood how terrifying this monster was. If he grew up a little more, his strength would become stronger, and with the strength of a shadow-level powerhouse, it would not be a problem at all, and he could even surpass the strong in history. Sarutobi Shinnishuk gradually understood that he could not have the advantage in physical confrontation with Chiba, and if he wanted to defeat him, he still had to rely on ninjutsu. After understanding it, Sarutobi Shinnishuk did not hesitate, created opportunities for himself, and then cast ninjutsu to attack Chiba. Whoops! 3 shurikens flew out, striking an arc and attacking Chiba from different directions, slowing down Chiba's speed. At the same time, Sarutobi Shinnishuk stepped back, put away the kunao, ran the chakra, and quickly sealed his hands, ready to perform ninjutsu. Tudun split earth turn palm. Sarutobi Shinnishuk glided through the air, withdrew backwards, landed 6 meters away, and when the seal was completed, slapped chakra to the ground with his right hand. Thundered. As his palm slammed into the ground immediately cracked, forming a powerful shock wave that rushed towards Kinyi, causing the earth and rock to tumble out, like a spear piercing straight away. Kinyi waved the kunao in his hand, easily picked out the shuriken that attacked him, defused this attack, and exerted his strength under his feet, rushed into the air, dodged the attack of the earth-splitting palm, appeared above Sarutobi Shinnishuk, and launched a rapid attack. Kinyi came to the top of Sarutobi Shinnishuk, did not hesitate, launched the burning fruit, and immediately bombarded down. The power is very powerful. The fire fist burst out, like a fierce beast, and pounced on Sarutobi Shinnishuk, wanting to devour him. Rumble! The fire fist bombarded down, and immediately blasted a large hole in the ground, causing the ground to collapse, flying sand and stones, and destroying the surrounding trees. After seeing the fire fist bombardment, Sarutobi Shinnishuk knew that such an attack was very strong and could not be shaken, so he decisively chose to dodge, withdrew backwards, and opened up a distance. Tudun Earth Dragon Bomb. When Sarutobi Shinnishuk withdrew, he was also very decisive, and immediately Yuki cast ninjutsu and launched an attack. The ground beside him cracked, and an Earth Dragon probe came out, condensing the Earth Dragon bullet in its mouth, and bombarded Kinyi, whose body was still in the air. If you really want to be attacked by the Earth Dragon bullet, even if Kinyi's strength is good, there is no way to resist it, and it will suffer heavy damage. Kinyi's body originally landed from the air, and when he saw the Earth Dragon bullet attacking, he did not panic at all, calmly cast the moon step, his body glided lightly, dodged the Earth Dragon bullet, or fell to the ground safely. After Kinyi fell to the ground, he immediately launched a shave, continuously changing directions, and avoiding the attack of the Earth Dragon bullet. In 2 breaths, Kinyi approached Sarutobi Shinnishuk. Without the slightest hesitation, another fire fist quickly slammed over. Boom! The fire fist broke out, and the power was very powerful, and it bombarded Sarutobi Shinnishuk. Sarutobi Shinnishuk was awe-inspiring. He didn't expect Kinyi's speed to be so fast. It was really unexpected. Sarutobi Shinnishuk faced stronger attacks, but still did not panic, remained calmly coped, and immediately changed direction to avoid the attack of the fire fist. Obviously, Chiba didn't want to give Sarutobi Shinnishuk too many opportunities, and wanted to go crazy and attack wildly to defeat his opponent. The fire fist continued to burst out, and the mirror fire flame, as if he didn't have strength, was vented out by Chiba and bombarded madly at Sarutobi Shinnishuk. Attacked by Chiba like this, Sarutobi Shinnishuk became very embarrassed, and the clothes on his body were torn by the flames, and even they became dark and sticky with charcoal ash. No, you kid is really playing with your life. Sarutobi Shinnishuk withdrew backwards, waved his hand, and stopped fighting. If he really wants to fight like this, Sarutobi Shinnishuk is incapable of defeating and is defeated by Chiba. He originally wanted to teach Kinyi a lesson, but he ended up making himself so embarrassed, not as dashing as before. It can be said that he fought with Kinyi this time, and he was defeated by Chiba. After all, he stopped first, and Kinyi is so much younger than him. Seeing that Sarutobi Shinnishuk did not want to fight, Chiba did not chase and fought fiercely, and stopped attacking. After all, even if they have contradictions with each other, it is still some small friction, and it is not a life and death battle. There is no need to play with life. After slamming out several fire fists in a row, Kinyi had already consumed a lot of physical energy, and there was a fierce battle before, which made him now exhausted, panting, sweaty, and almost fell directly to the ground. Elite N.A.N is such a strength, it seems that I am not bad, Kinyi said with a smile, happy about this. Although it is not in his prime, it is already very rare for him to be able to compete with the elite N.A.N, and even have the opportunity to defeat the other party. Don't be too arrogant, Sarutobi Shinnishuk said angrily, really speechless to the little guy Chiba. I call this self-confidence, not arrogance. Kinyi shrugged his shoulders and said indifferently, not caring at all what the other party thought. Things are settled here, I should go. Kinyi said casually. He didn't want to stay here, and turned around to leave. He had been in the misty forest for 4 days, had killed many people, collected many left ears, filled his sack, and it was time to return to the tavern to pay for his errands. Aren't you going to return to Konoha? You are a ninja of Konoha. Seeing that Chiba was going to leave, Sarutobi Shinnishuk asked. Regarding the matter of Kimishuumao, Sarutobi Shinnishuk also knows a lot. Knowing what happened to Chiba, he sighed a little in his heart. If Chiba no longer works for Konoha because of Kikishuo's affairs, it will be a huge loss for Konoha, and it will shape a strong opponent. What a sad thing it would be if things were to develop like this. You know, Kinyi is only 6 years old now, and his strength has reached this situation, and it is definitely not a problem to be able to compete with N.A.N, and give him a few more years to compete with the shadow-level powerhouse. Now is not the era of war. I don't need to do anything. If I go back, won't I stay moldy, be preached by the old man of your family, and brainwash me? Kinyi did not turn around, and said playfully, lacking interest in returning to Konoha. Saying that, he did not hesitate, walked towards the sack not far away, and left the place. Looking at Chiba's not tall back, gradually walking towards the forest, gradually disappearing in front of him, Sarutobi Shinnishuk sighed a little. However, after hearing Chiba's words, Sarutobi Shinnishuk was helpless, but also relieved. Although Chiba now has a poor sense of belonging to Konoha, he will not betray the village. As long as Chiba did not betray the village, then everything turned around. Carrying a sack containing his left ear and loot, Chiba walked towards the outskirts of the misty forest, intending to return to the border of the Fire Nation. On the way back to the border in the misty forest immediately in Chiba, he was besieged by 3 mercenary squads. Of the 3 mercenary squads, 2 belong to other countries and 1 belongs to the Fire Nation. The reason why the mercenary squad of the Fire Country will do something to Chiba is that they have taken a fancy to his loot and want to snatch it and pocket it. However, after these mercenary teams made a move, it meant that their fate, unable to escape the palm of death, was killed by Kinyi strongly, and was used to exercise the ability of frozen fruit. After killing these mercenaries, Kinyi was not polite, cut off their left ear, put it in a cloth bag, and scavenged for loot at the same time. The misty forest is foggy all year round, and the humidity is very heavy, and staying in it for a long time will make people unaccustomed to it. Now walking out of the misty forest, I can breathe in the relatively dry space and enjoy the sunlight, and I feel very comfortable, and I am a little obsessed with this feeling. Kinyi stayed in the misty forest for nearly 5 days, and after so many battles, he was wearing all his clothes, so that the clothes on his body were stained with blood, the color began to change, and his clothes were torn many times. It's still comfortable in the sun. Kinyi let out a sigh. He didn't stop and rushed straight to the tavern where the mercenaries frequented. 20 minutes later, Chiba, who was not tall, appeared in front of the tavern with a sack covered in blood. Those mercenaries and bounty hunters who entered and exited the tavern, seeing such a little furry boy, actually carrying a marijuana bag, couldn't help but open their eyes wide, revealing a shocked look, and couldn't believe it. The mercenaries who have experienced blood and fire and walk on the border will not understand what is in the sack. They didn't expect that it was unimaginable that a little furry child would go to the border to kill so many people. On the border, mercenaries who specialize in killing the enemies of the empire naturally know that killing the enemy is not an easy task. Moreover, killing a large number of enemy enemies is a difficult thing, and it is basically impossible to happen to a small child. However, today they saw this amazing scene as if they had witnessed a miracle. Is he really a little kid? Actually killed so many people. The mercenary standing at the door of the tavern, seeing N.A.N enter the tavern, couldn't help but sigh, unable to calm down. This little guy is definitely a ruthless character, it's best not to provoke him. Someone made such an assessment. Unlike the first time he entered the tavern, no one dared to underestimate N.A.N, did not dare to evaluate him, did not dare to look down on him. His expression became awe-inspiring, his eyes fell on N.A.N, looking at him. The tavern owner saw Chiba, who had been away for a few days, appear, and he was carrying a marijuana bag, and his expression was slightly moved, a little moved. When he first saw Chiba's move, the tavern owner knew his strength, but felt that he was a little arrogant, and if he wanted to walk in the area of the misty forest, it was estimated that it would be difficult for a long time, and even felt that it would not be long before he would be killed by the enemy, or even killed by the people of the Fire Nation. After all, N.A.'s style of doing things is really a bit ostentatious, so that people can't stand it, and they will want to teach him a lesson. The tavern owner did not expect that in just 4 days, N.A.N would have such a harvest, which was really unexpected. Boss, take an inventory. Chiba put the sack on the bar, pushed it in front of the tavern owner, and spoke. Seeing such a large sack, containing half of the loot, the tavern owner was stunned for a moment before coming back to his senses. You have a drink first, and I'll count things for you. The tavern owner smiled and pushed a glass of spirit in front of Chiba. N.A.N nodded, picked up the wine glass on the bar, and took a sip of spirits. The tavern owner took the sack, turned around and made a bar, counting Chiba's loot. N.A.N has an approximate number in his heart for how much loot. Even if he gives the tavern owner the courage, he does not dare to swallow Chiba's loot. After all, N.A.'s strength is there, if someone dares to pit him, he will have to pay a heavy price. 10 minutes later, the tavern owner returned from counting the loot. You killed a total of 67 people, you can get 21,500 taels, and the other loot you brought back is probably worth 500 taels, don't you have an opinion? The tavern owner said politely. Almost. N.A.N nodded, even if there was some difference, he would not look for trouble. Then, you'll get a total of 22,000 taels this time, that is, 220,000 yuan, I will directly give you a bank card, which can be used in banks in various countries. The tavern owner spoke, and his attitude towards Chiba was very good, that is, the tone of discussion. No problem. Chiba opened his mouth in response. If you really want to let him carry so much cash on him, it is also very inconvenient. It is better to take a bank card conveniently. When you need to spend money, go to the bank to withdraw money. After a while, the tavern owner handed over a bank card with a balance of 220,000 to N.A.N. The mercenaries and bounty hunters in the tavern saw that N.A.N got so many bank cards with so much balance, his eyes became hot, and even some evil thoughts rose, wanting to rob them. However, they knew that N.A.N was definitely not a good stubble, and if they dared to make a move, it was estimated that they would not even be able to save their lives, so they did not dare to act rashly. After putting away his bank card, Chiba ordered some food in the tavern, and after eating casually, he left the tavern and walked around the border town, buying new clothes that could be changed and washed, as well as some weapons and equipment for battle. The clothes on N.A.'s body are already tattered, it can be said that he does not cover his body, and if he does not change into new clothes, people think that he is a beggar. Time passed slowly, and Chiba remained here, constantly entering and exiting the misty forest, killing mercenaries who wanted to invade the land of fire and disturb the peace on the border. Chiba is not in a hurry to leave this border town, but keeps killing people, keeps making money, and completes the simple tasks released by the One Piece system. Every time N.A.N entered the misty forest, it was 6 or 7 days, and when he withdrew, he would return with a full load, otherwise dozens of mercenaries and bounty hunters would lose their lives. The mercenaries walking in the town were extremely surprised to see that N.A.N had such a harvest every time, and they were shocked by N.A.N, so that N.A.'s murderous name began to spread in the town. Silver Shura. Chiba was called Silver Azura by the mercenaries in the town, and the murderous name gradually spread out, spread to the country of grass, and was known by the mercenaries of the enemy country, forming an invisible deterrent. Because of the fear of the Silver Shura, the mercenaries and bounty hunters of the enemy country are afraid of encountering N.A.N and dare not sneak into the misty forest, so that the mercenaries entering and leaving the misty forest have become much less than before. As the enemy mercenaries did not enter the misty forest much, it became a lot more difficult for N.A.N to find the target to kill, and every time he was counted in the misty forest, there was not much gain, and the benefits were less and less every time. Time was in a hurry, half a year passed, N.A.'s age reached 7 years old, he grew taller, and his strength improved a lot. He made a famous name in the border town, like a killing god, and no one dared to provoke him and hide from the Azura who came out of purgatory. Bite. The number of host kills reaches 500, and the superhuman fruit, the surgical fruit, is rewarded with 500,000 points. When Qin killed the 500th person, the voice of the One Piece system prompt sounded. Phew, after working hard for so long, I finally got the fruits of the procedure. Qin laughed excitedly and showed a bright smile. The surgical fruit, that is a very heaven-defying devil fruit, can use a very awesome ability, and if used for battle, it can also be very gorgeous. Moreover, if the ability to develop the fruit of surgery to the extreme, it is possible to transform the body and make people gain permanent life and achieve a state of immortality. Thinking that he could dominate the life and death of others and give infinite life to others, Qin was inexplicably excited, feeling that he could control everything. Together with the 500,000 points obtained now, the host now has a total of 632,000 points, and can purchase other skills and items and weapons from the system mall. Does the host buy them? The sound of the One Piece system prompt sounded. Qin is now alive and fruitful of surgery, and he feels that he still has to cooperate. The exclusive knife held by Trafalgar Luo, Ghost Cry. Ghost Cry is a demon knife with a black body and a size and knife type similar to a wild sword, with a small pattern of 10 engraved on the outside of the scabbard from top to bottom, tied with a red rope, and a furry protector on the handguard. I want to buy the demon knife Ghost Cry. Chiba made a decision by making a voice to the One Piece system. If the host wants to buy the demon knife Ghost Cry, it needs to spend 200,000 points. Do you want to continue? The sound of the One Piece system prompt sounded. I have to say that the points you need to consume to buy some high-level weapons and powerful skills from the One Piece system are really expensive, and it costs 200,000 points for Ghost Cry alone. If you spend points to buy surgical fruits, you need at least 1 million points. Fortunately, it is the reward for completing the task, otherwise, Chiba will not be able to easily obtain surgical fruits. Go on. Qin did not hesitate and quickly made a decision. What he has to do now is to find a way to improve his strength, instead of stingy with points and things that become stronger. The One Piece system did not hesitate, immediately deducted 200,000 points, and purchased the demon knife Ghost Cry for Chiba. Airplanes. A voice sounded, causing the space to tremble slightly, and the demon knife cry appeared in front of Qin. Seeing the Ghost Cry appear, Qin did not hesitate and reached out to catch the demon knife. In this way, he has two swords, and both of them belong to good knives. Qin was already a little impatient, raised his left hand, and activated the surgical fruit, creating a hemispherical space that spread out towards the surroundings and enveloped the surrounding trees. In the next instant, the demon knife ghost in Qin's hand cried out of its sheath and swept it out directly, which did not burst out with great power, but it could have an unexpected effect. After the ghost cried out, the trees in front of Qin enshrouded by the hemisphere were immediately cut off and dumped down one after another, emitting a roar. Seeing that he had obtained such an ability, Chiba's mood was very excited. The fruits of surgery can be used not only to fight, but also to save people. In general, if Chiba is willing in the future, he can become a medical ninja, codenamed Death Doctor. If the enemy falls into the hands of Chiba and wants to die easily, it is not an easy thing, depending on Qin's mood. For the next 3 days, Chiba still walked in the misty forest. The main purpose was not to kill mercenaries who wanted to invade the border, but to master the ability of surgical fruits and hone various combat skills. In the past half a year, the mercenaries who want to invade the border of the Fire Country have really been deterred by the fierce name of the Silver Shura, and they dare not take risks easily, and have all withdrawn from the misty forest, making this place extremely quiet, and it is very difficult to find a living person. Having mastered several basic combat skills of the fruits of surgery, Chiba no longer lingered, immediately lost the fog forest, and left the border directly, going somewhere else to continue his practice. On the other side of the border, no one dared to come to his trouble, and if he continued to stay there, it would no longer make the slightest sense, and it would not help cultivation. After killing the mercenaries of the enemy country in half a year, Qin has now accumulated a wealth of 3 million yuan, which is a very large property, and he can be regarded as a small local tycoon. In 3 days, Chiba came to Yangming City, a border city on the border of the land of grass, the land of fire, and the land of rain. Because it is a city at the junction of 3 countries, it is difficult for Yangming City to determine which country it belongs to, and the 3 countries have no way to manage this city. Neither country between the 3 countries is willing to let the other govern the city, and over time, Yangming City becomes a neutral place, and the laws of the 3 countries do not apply here. After Yangming City became a neutral place, there was basically no order in the city, and all order was based on the supremacy of strength, and whoever had the biggest fist and who spoke was completely the law of the jungle. Because of the prevalence of this phenomenon, Yangming City is very chaotic. It is the favorite place for criminals, traitors, and profiteers. As long as they get here, the laws of other countries cannot restrict them, they can do whatever they want. Chiba originally planned to go to the land of rain. After all, there is a Xiao organization there. You can go to see it. If you are in a good mood, you can join Xiao to play. In general, Xiao at this point in time is still a positive organization that strives to keep the peace, and Yahiko is not dead. he is still the leader of the Xiao organization. On the way to the land of rain, Chiba happened to pass by the neutral place, Yangning City. Qin is wearing a blue power suit, with silver hair that covers his forehead, has a handsome face, and his figure is not too tall, but he is carrying 2 Tai knives on his back, one snow walking, and the other is crying, which looks a little weird. With a slow and leisurely step, Qin stepped into a neutral place, Yangning City. The people who dared to walk swaggering in Yangning City were all outlaws, almost pinning their heads to their trouser belts, and they were accustomed to seeing the sword and blood. Even, walking on the street, at any time will attract a vain disaster, being attacked by someone, may die, do not know how you will die. Yangning City is a neutral place, but also a place of chaos, there is no order at all, if something happens here, no one will come forward at all, unless they have a big backer. Qin was so alone, carrying 2 Tai knives, swaggering, undisguised, without entourage, and very young, simply a child, inevitably being targeted and coveting the 2 good knives on his body. Qin walked in the streets of Yangning City, attracting the attention of many people, looked at him, and finally landed on the 2 Tai knives on his back, and his eyes immediately became fiery. Even if they had not seen the 2 Tai knives that Qin was carrying, they could judge from the decoration of the scabbard that these 2 Tai knives were definitely not cheap goods, and they might be good treasure knives. Hey, a little furry boy carrying 2 good knives, such swagger, is too conspicuous, just want to attract others to grab. Pifu is not guilty, he is guilty. This little devil dares to swagger like this, don't you know what place is here? He's going to bring us the sword. Don't rob me, otherwise, I'm not polite to you. Some outlaws standing not far away, looking at Qin who slowly passed through the street, couldn't help but muttered in a low voice, and they had already begun to move, unable to hold back, and wanted to snatch Qin's treasure knife. Qin was walking on the street, although there was no way to observe, but he could sense that there were already many outlaws around, seeing his 2 good knives, and was preparing to rob. Qin did not intend to run for his life, but waited for these people to rush over and rob so that he could kill people again and deter these stupid guys well. Anyway, killing people in this neutral place, there is no need to bear any responsibility at all. Here is the law of the jungle, as long as there is enough strength, you can do whatever you want. For Qin, it is the best place. When Qin walked to the end of the street, turned into another alley, and wanted to lead to another street, those outlaws who were about to move finally no longer hesitated, immediately took action, chased towards the alley, and blocked Qin in the alley. Qin walked to the middle of the alley, and the exits at both ends of the alley were all surrounded by outlaws, not letting him leave. Seeing such a situation, Qin did not panic in the slightest, his expression remained calm, revealing a playful smile. Little ghost, such a good knife is not something you can have. You obediently hand over 2 good knives now, we may be able to spare you from death and let you go once. If you wait for us to make a move, your end will be miserable. Everyone who surrounded Qin said one after another, revealing a cold gaze, looking like they were sure of Qin. In their opinion, Qin is just a little ghost, completely looking down on Qin. Whatever they want, there is no need to be afraid at all. Oops, you all snatched up my lines, so I don't even know what to say. Qin raised his head, glanced at everyone, and said playfully, the sword is here with me, if you want it, come and grab it, provided that you have the strength. Qin continued to speak, his voice was much colder than before, and his eyes changed. Little ghost, you are crazy enough, I want to see what you are capable of. A bronze-skinned middle-aged man stood up coldly and rushed towards Qin. It's just that as soon as he took 2 steps forward, he felt a trace of coldness in his neck, blood flowers bloomed, blood gushed out wildly, and before he could react, he fell to the ground. Qin didn't want to waste his precious time with these incompetent guys, so he decisively shot out and attacked these people who surrounded him. He walked with snow in his hand, his figure was constantly moving, and the speed was very fast, like a ghost shuttling. If it was not a strong person, he could not capture his movement trajectory at all. Qin acted among these outlaws, and the sword in his hand flashed with cold light, accompanied by blood splashes. These outlaws, who originally planned to rush to Qin and snatch the sword, were attacked by Qin before they could react, and used the treasure knife they coveted to reap their lives, leaving them with no ability to resist at all. In less than a minute, 15 outlaws who were planning to snatch the sword all fell in a pool of blood. Blood flowed to the ground, staining the alley red, and the picture looked very shocking. Qin took the snow back into its scabbard, raised his left hand to wipe a drop of blood splashed on his cheek, his expression returned to calm, and walked out towards the alley as if he was fine. After Qin left, other curious people rushed over, and saw that those who wanted to snatch the sword were actually all killed, and they couldn't help but be shocked, couldn't believe it, causing an uproar, making people re-examine Qin, not daring to underestimate him, and even treating him as a monster. No one dared to come and grab the sword. Qin was calm, there was no other trouble, you could walk leisurely in Yangning City, and roughly understand the situation here. Chiba walked a few streets and found that there were quite a few casinos here, and you could see one not far apart. If Tsunadeheim is in Yangmazhou, she will definitely fall in love with it and gamble money wherever she goes. Qin sighed and said, after coming to this world, Chiba has not really seen Tsunade, and he can't help but feel a little regretful. According to the timeline, N.A.N is still a big beauty at this point in time, with extraordinary charm, and is definitely a stunner-level existence. During the walk, Chiba came to the center of Yangning City, which was much more prosperous than the periphery, and there was a large-scale casino. Just looking at the building, it looked like a palace, which looked very domineering. This casino is called N.A.N Casino, two very eye-catching fonts, set high in front of the gate. As long as you pass here, you can't help but look twice. For the casino, Chiba didn't care much about it, but the gambler conversation that came out of the casino caught his attention. Hey, there was a blonde beauty gambling money in it just now, and she actually dared to go out of the old thousands. It's really tired of living. Not really. She has a bit of posture and knows a little ninjutsu, and actually uses her shadow avatar to become a bargaining chip to continue gambling, and she can think of it. People are beautiful, but they are too gambling, and they must be losers. She is old in the N.A.N Casino, and if she doesn't pay some price, I'm afraid she won't be able to get out. Hearing the words discussed by several gamblers, according to the characteristics of these descriptions, Chiba felt that the only person who could do such a thing was N.A.N, a lady. If N.A.N were here, it would be fun. N.A.N laughed, showing a bright smile, looking very expectant. He had no interest in the casino and didn't plan to enter it, but now he changed his mind, turned around, took a step and walked towards the casino. Little one, this is a casino, not a place you can come to. As soon as Chiba approached the entrance of the casino, a slender maid came over and stopped Chiba. This girl felt that a little furry boy like N.A.N had no money on him, and if he let him enter the casino, he might cause trouble, so he stopped him directly. Isn't this a casino? Can't I gamble money? You think I don't have money? This is a neutral place. There is no rule that minors are not allowed to enter the casino, right? N.A.N raised his head, looked at the other party, and said without salt. Saying that, he did not talk to the girl, bypassed the other party, and continued to walk into the casino. This girl was shocked by N.A.N's series of rhetorical questions, and did not react, and when she reacted, N.A.N had already entered the door, and she no longer stopped obstructing. After all, what Chiba said was the truth. Chiba walked through the corridor passage that was very spacious and delicately decorated, depicting murals, and finally opened up to see a large casino. There are at least hundreds of gambling tables in the casino, and people gathered here to gamble. The sound of people is loud, it is not lively, so that N.A.N can't adapt for a while. After Chiba walked into the